So,
goal! Southampton have just gone 1-0 up, 2 minutes and 18 seconds in. Really, really good goal. Unfortunately, it isn't Che Adams, but it's Adam Armstrong. Kind of a long ball. The Villa defenders don't really deal with it. They just head it down, took one bounce, and Armstrong caught it. Not on the volley, but struck it. It was a half volley, maybe. I need to see the replay, but it was a great finish anyway by him. It was actually Che Adams that caused all the confusion, and yeah, the ball was just bouncing, and he caught it just as it was about to hit the floor. Really, really sweet into the top corner. So that'll open the game up anyway. But yeah, terrible by Villa. I said in the article that I thought they would, be really tight, compact, hard to play against, considering that they've conceded so many goals in their last 4 games. But to concede after 2 minutes is just unbelievable. This game could turn into a goal fest now because they have to change it and they're going to be more open at the back again,
Yeah, I mean, you were saying that they were leaking goals and you kind of felt they have to just go into this one, looking to stamp that out, and they clearly haven't.
Yeah. Because they weren't. I actually went to see Southampton versus Aston Villa, West Ham versus Aston Villa on Sunday, and Villa weren't that, especially in the first half, they weren't that bad. They were well in the game, but then they kind of imploded in the second half. So I was kind of thinking if they can play in this game like they did in the first half of the match against West Ham. And the fact that Southampton hadn't been great going forward. If you look at Southampton's games this season, I think they've only scored more than 1 goal on 2 or 3 occasions, and that's League and Cup.
Yeah, I think you said they had, was it 9 goals in 10 league games, or maybe 10 goals in 9 league games? But
yeah, I think it was 9 and 10 was the stat for them. So averaging under a goal a game. I wasn't expecting them to get many tonight, which is the combination of those 2 things. But yeah, a goal after 2 minutes opens things up significantly. So,
welcome back, lads. By the way, apologies for that. I had to step away and basically turn everything off and on again over and over until something worked.
I don't think there was a huge amount of updates from your Belgium game to be given anyway. So
no, we came back on air on YouTube exactly as Gary let the roar out about the goal. So anyone who's just tuned in will plenty of excitement up front in that video.
We had a good conversation about Waterford while you were away. You'd be happy to know that they've gone 1-0 up.
Yeah, I was listening to you in the background, and actually I tried to pull the odds up, and then it went suspended, so I kind of knew that I'd missed it, but I'd gladly miss the bet and get Waterford to stay in the Premier Division than get dragged into the relegation playoffs. That's actually, speaking of the relegation playoffs, that's actually something that happened Waterford before, Slats. You probably won't remember this. I know you're not huge on the first division of Irish football, but
won't. Yeah,
they got to the playoffs and then failed to get up one year, and then the next year it took them. I think they got up the second time around, so could be quite content for them not to get dragged into those playoffs again anytime soon.
Yeah, Shelbourne did the same last year. They got to the playoff and were favourites to win against Longford and ended up getting relegated. So it's not what you want to do if you can avoid it.
I remember that Shelbourne. That was absolutely awful. But that panned out for them, but back anyway now. So the Belgian game's a bit quiet. I haven't had much of an eye on it, but nothing looked good while I was watching the brief moments of it. But thankfully I got my excuse in nice and early that I'm expecting the goals to come in the last 10 minutes.
Not to worry about.
Yeah. So anyone who's with us on YouTube, apologies for the interruption. You might have seen maybe 3 short videos, and now we're back again. So we've had some technical problems there, but they look to be behind us, and touch wood, they will stay that way. So we are now back on all three platforms. Did I hear you say, Gary, you put a same game multi on?
Yeah, so it's in the Southampton game, obviously, because I'm watching that one. So it's Che Adams to have 2 shots on target, Ollie Watkins to have 2 shots on target, Romeu, the centre midfielder for Southampton, to be booked, and over 10.5 corners. So nothing to report so far in that in terms of winners or getting close to winners in it. But we're only 7 minutes in, so plenty of time for it to happen. Could probably do it a few corners in the game, but the game has been very, very open. So we had a conversation there. Anybody who's just joined us, or anybody who's been watching, I'm not going to repeat what I've said, but essentially I was expecting this to be a tight enough affair, but there looks like there'd be goals all over the place. So if you're looking to back over 2.5 or over 3.5 goals, it wouldn't be a bad bet.
Price is 2.5 now.
I'd say it's fairly short. It was like 6-10 at the start of play, so I'd say it's fairly short for 2.5. But 3.5, you probably get close to evens, I'd say.
Personally, I prefer to wait and just see if that drifts a bit and then get on.
Over 3.5 is just 10 to 11 on Bet365. On the exchange, you'd probably get it at around evens. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's just how this game has started. As I said, it could be 2-1 to Southampton. So I wouldn't be surprised if that was it. Southampton just have a corner here now. So there's a lot that's happened in the first 8 minutes of the game. Sometimes, oh my God, the corner went to the back post. I think it might be Stuart Armstrong was coming in at the back.
Yeah,
relation to Adam Armstrong, and he skied it, but he was all alone. He could have taken it down. He could have taken it down and squared it. He went to volley it in. He was in the 6-yard box all on his own. Not really too sure what he tried. And he could have laid back to Che Adams for a shot on target, but he didn't. So, unfortunately,
there's a VAR decision in Belgium. I don't know if you're actually watching that, LB.
No, still not. Still making sure that our technical problems are fully behind us.
Yeah, no, that's sound. Yeah, I'll keep an eye on it. It's so it said 1-0 to Leuven, but it's still suspended and it's gone to VAR. It's shown, video ref reviewing the goal. So hopefully that'll stick. It'll be a nice early goal in there for over 2.5. I was explaining a while ago as well that on our live ACA that any viewers or commenters could win the profits on. We only have the over 2.5 in that match because we couldn't get the over 2.5 in both teams to score, but it still gives our treble odds of 14-1. So that's €140 to, whoever we think is making some good interaction with us tonight on the various platforms.
Yeah, the way my night is going now, I might start commenting on these videos myself to get a shot at that 140. Because the way I have it back myself, I need the both teams to score. I've got it on with Bet365. Make it even worse.
And what did you do for the Che Adams leg of it?
I actually put him in the score, which is a lot. Like I said, earlier on, I was looking at William Hill, and the 1-2 for my leg it made me very uncomfortable.
That'll be a kick in the stones now. If
he'll get his shots, but he won't score, and then the other thing is going to go the other way. Yeah. Anyway. I think I'm back.
Yeah, it looks like that goal is stuck anyway. Oh no, sorry, I take that back. It's still reviewing. It's still.
I was just going to say everything is in the every VAR review on the Belgian First Division A has gone against us. So I would not be too excited about this one.
I did a treble. I was trying to get on Waterford. I don't know if you heard that, LB, but they scored before I did. I was going to do over 1.5 goals in 2 of the Dutch games that had gone to halftime 0-0. So in those 2, one of them still 0-0. The other, it's just 51st minute. Dordek have scored. So hopefully those goals will keep tipping away. We've spoken before about even the Dutch 2 games that there aren't a whole lot of goals in the first half. They can still open up in the second half. And both of these matches had tons of shots, tons of chances in the first half of each. So I just thought get on them for second half goals.
Yeah.
Just a comment on Facebook from Manolo. So Manolo's obviously a regular on the show, a regular commenter. So says that no action today because on vacation with the family, but wishes us best of luck with the bets and the stream. So we've had some technical difficulties today, particularly on YouTube. So we'll need that look for the stream. And Manolo, that's you into the draw for winning the bet. So if our 14-1 shot lands, you'll be in with a chance of that. So thanks for that, and have a good time away with your family, and we'll speak to you when you're back, hopefully.
Yeah, appreciate the positive wishes. Been all up. Very much need them tonight, the way things started out. That goal has been ruled out in Belgium, so it's back to 0-0 officially now.
Yeah, you would call it saying that the VAR tends to go against their bets, so they're keeping that trend up anyway.
Yeah. Sure has.
The Grass Chapper still well on top. Like Den Bosch still just have that one shot on target. They got one shot off target, but the Grass Chapper have had 15 shots with 8 on target. And 2 or 3 of those have come in the opening 10 minutes of the second half, so they're still continuing to put on that pressure. It's 11-10 for 2 more goals. The Grass Chapper, they were 4-6. They've gone back to 8-13 now. So it's, there's not much value in backing them there. But hopefully for the treble, they'll get a couple of goals and put that one to bed.
Yeah. This Belgium match, that VAR decision seems to have sparked it into life, or maybe the near goal beforehand probably in reality is what did it. But it's a very, very end-to-end now, just constant going out action both sides in the last 3 or 4 minutes. So I'm just getting the VAR review here, and as much as it pains me to say it was the right call, there was at least 4 Leuven players offside. Including the guy who scored. So no, that's not a hard luck story this time.
As far as Bet365 is telling me, Gary, Shea Adams had a shot off target just there.
So it was another corner from Southampton, and anybody is watching in probably see me kind of make a little jump out of me. He kind of went to the near post and tried to flick a header on, and it just went wide. It looked like it got a deflection, but the ref gave a goal kick and not a corner. But good to see him getting into kind of those positions anyway. If he had hit the target, it would have been a goal because it was just one of those deft flicks at the front post. Southampton are on the attack again. Villa look rattled here. They kind of mentioned about their defensive vulnerabilities, and they're definitely showing up in this game so far. They could have definitely conceded 3, maybe 4 goals. They've already had a booking so far. I think Ghazi got booked. 15 minutes in, one of your defenders being booked, giving up a lot of chances. There aren't many positives for Villa fans to kind of hold on to at the moment anyway, but that could change. Not
to upset your mother here, Gary, but do you have any, what's gone wrong at Villa? They looked so promising last season. It's just gone to the dogs, really.
Yeah, I'm not sure. So, you were away, I'll be trying to fix some of our technical difficulties. I was saying, I was at Villa Park on Sunday for the West Ham game, and in the first half, they were probably the better team. It didn't look a bad side. But in the second half, they just kind of imploded a bit. Same here, they conceded early on. It just looks like they have no confidence. So I don't know whether there's problems with the manager or what's going on, but they have some decent players. They just don't seem to be putting it together. Oh my God, they're near to conceding again. So Livramento went down the left-hand side, got to the byline, crossed it in across the 6-yard box, and it just got cleared away. But if the defender hadn't got to it, it was a tap-in actually for Shea Adams. So unfortunately, got to it. Sam is still on the top here. They just made another last-ditch challenge, and Tyrone Mings has gone mental at all of his teammates. So, it's not looking great for Villa at the moment.
Do you know, some points, though, not just to be contrarian for the sake of it, but you've given Southampton a good few chances here. At some point, if you're not taking your chances, I'd be inclined to bet the other way. Villa can't get much worse than Southampton.
Oh, definitely, yeah. As I said, they have there's a lot of players on the Villa team I rate. Matty Cash, I think he's a really good defender. He's decent going forward as well. They've got Watkins up front who can score from anything. McGinn in midfield is fairly decent as well. So they have kind of some decent players dotted around the place. They're definitely not out of the game, but they haven't started this game at all tonight. And given the fact that they've conceded so many in the last 4 games, there's definitely something up outside of talent. It's either, I said, disgruntlement with the manager or something else within the squad. But there definitely doesn't seem to be a harmony there at the moment anyway.
Yeah. Corner here for Ostend in the Belgian game. So not sure what's going to come of this, but it's really, as you were talking there, the ball's just going up and down the pitch very, very fast. So I actually think I'd prefer Ostend to score here and put a bit of pressure on the home team to start, turning those chances into goals, or at least something a bit more concrete.
It'll be, I don't know if you have any feelings on the Serie A game tonight, the Empoli v Genoa. I'd certainly imagine you took a look at it when picking your bet for the live ACCA.
I've put both teams to score into an ACCA. It was only 8-13, it was pretty low.
You're probably happy with that away goal, so anyway.
Yeah. Although Genoa are anyone familiar with SportsRunDown.com will know that our Italian expert Enzo has tipped them up for a lot of over 2.5, and I think even a few 3.5s over the last couple of weeks. I forget what he calls it now. Wongaville, I think, is how he talks about the goals that he gets in the Wongaville. Yeah, so I didn't really have a huge fancy on it. I did like both teams to score. A 1-1 wouldn't have surprised me, but like I said, the price wasn't great, so I couldn't put in. Actually, now in hindsight, it probably wasn't a whole lot worse than the Belgian game, but a good luck on the show with the Belgian First Division. So I've backed both teams to score in that game, the Serie B game, the Belgian game, and a fourth one and the Ligue game. I have the 4 of those and the both teams to score at small stake. But that's all I have on that one there, really. Now is probably a good time actually on that to segue into the Serie A article on the side. I was actually going to go to the EFL, Gary, but we might as well do the Serie A article now that we're talking about it. So anyone, again, who's not familiar with SportsRundown.com, we've got various sport and league experts over there, and Enzo is one of them. He writes about the Serie A, and he's only picked out 2 bets this weekend, so he's gone for quality over quantity. There is Napoli game. Napoli host Hellas Verona. Napoli obviously steamrolling the season so far, really, really impressive. But he thinks that maybe the wheels could come off a little bit. They've got a couple of injuries and a suspension. So Koulibaly is suspended at the heart of centre back. And anyone who watches the Serie A will know he's one of the most dominant centre backs around at the minute. And the 2 strikers are out as well for Napoli. And even though they kind of swatted aside Legia Warsaw with ease during the week, they only scraped by Salernitana, how we pronounce that team, on last weekend, 1-0. So he thinks that it could actually go the other way. Verona turn into something of giant killers under Tudor. So we've actually backed them a couple of times ourselves. We talked about it on the stream, and Enzo has tipped them up. Now he thinks that the 15-2 for the away win there might be a bit juicy. So he's toned it down. He's picked an anytime goal scorer there, Giovanni Simeone. So anyone familiar with Spanish football will be familiar with his father, as 16-5 anytime, which is a huge price considering that he's got, I think he's got 8 goals. I think Enzo says it in the article, but he's a lot of goals this season, and he's outside 3-1 there for an anytime scorer. So I think I'm going to do a same game multi on that. I might back him to score and back Verona to win, and maybe a couple of other markets in there to get a bit of juice. And then the other bet that he's got for Saturday or for Sunday is the Milan Derby. So AC Milan against Inter Milan. So if we had this stream any time up until last night, Gary, that would have been the last match I was actually at with you back in January of 2020. I haven't been to a football match since until yesterday. I went to a game which completely changes that. So he has the same thoughts as me. We were actually texted about it during the week. It's a really hard game to call, and derbies are, famously form goes out the window. But Milan are the bigger price. I mean, they're higher up the table. They've got a much better record this season. They're unbeaten domestically. I think the only 3 losses they have are to Liverpool, Atletico, and I forget the third team in their Champions League group. So, I mean, tough Champions League fixtures, and that's all they've lost. And obviously Milan are not, as familiar with the Champions League as they would have been historically. So they're unbeaten domestically, 10 wins and a draw, and they're 2-1 at home. They've been the underdog in that fixture for a while now. I think this could be a big performance for them. I like it as well. I think in those sort of games, it's always wise to go with the home team and or the bigger odds, and you're getting both of them here. So we'll go into that game a little bit more detail in what we call the stat corner. We have a cheat sheet for it, and we'll give you a bit more detail on that later. But Enzo's got two good tips there, both outside 2-1, so 16-5 and 2-1, and plenty of value there in the the Serie
Just to jump back to the anytime goal score for a second, Simeone has had 6 goals in his last 3 games and 8 goals so far this season. So those stats are brilliant for someone who's 16-5, like, better than 3-1 for anytime goal score. Seems crazy. You'd nearly expect odds closer to that for first goal score, never mind anytime goal score.
I knew the 8 part was right, but I knew there was a second part there. That 6-3 is just crazy.
Yeah.
He's red hot, and anyone who knows Enzo will know that he's a stickler for the writing, and he used an exclamation mark to describe how hot Simeone's form is, which for him it's a big deal to do that.
And Abraham will be getting jealous.
I think he's moved on from Tammy now by the looks of things. So I think it's a great bet. We've talked about it before, like shots. Certain players priced very, very strangely in the shots market, and I think with this as well, because everyone, the market is so heavily towards Napoli, that the Napoli players are just, you get a lot of extra juice on them to score, and their own form is not really coming into it too much.
They're good games. Just to even sit down and watch without a bet, but I'll definitely be invested in those bets because there's a bit of juice about them, and look very likely to come in. So.
Yeah, no, 100%. That same game multi in the Napoli looks really juicy. You're getting the underdog 15-2 for the Verona win, and then 3-2. Obviously, they'll sort of negate each other a little bit, but you're getting outside 3-1 for that goal score as well. It's going to be a big Sunday special there, I think. So before we dive into the EFL article, Gary, just a couple of updates on the game. So Stend have had a couple of good chances here while I was talking, but haven't managed to score. This game is drifting towards halftime, 38 minutes on the clock, still 0-0. So beginning to really want a goal to come in, especially if it's for Ostend. Nothing else that I can see. Anything in your games, guys?
Still 1-1 in Netherlands. And the Graafschap have gone a bit quiet. They've 16 shots, 8 on target, 8 off target, and 9 corners. But there hasn't been any in the last 5 or 10 minutes now. It's just going on 70 minutes. So hopefully they can kind of pick it up again, because it doesn't look like they're settling for a draw or anything. They've just gone a bit quiet.
And what's left on the clock? Sorry,
20 minutes, just over 20.
Okay.
So plenty of time, really, but it's just that those shots, for a few minutes there at the start of the second half, it just, when you get a feeling like a goal is coming here very soon, it was just shot on target, shot off target, corner, shot off target, and that's stopped for the last 10 minutes, so it's kind of making me feel a bit dodgy about it. They're still inside evens to win the match, but hopefully they'll just start upping their attacking and shots again, and a goal should come.
How's the Villa game looking, Gary?
Villa just had a good chance there. Agazi broke down the left-hand side, cut inside. Probably should have crossed it into Watkins in the box, but went for a shot on his weaker right foot and blazed it over. Definitely should be trying to play your striker in there. But apart from that attack, this has probably been one of the most one-sided Premier League games I've seen.
Really?
Villa were struggling to get out. Southampton were just camped in their half there, had 3 or 4 corners, putting a lot of pressure on. So, Villa need to up their game. As regards Che Adams, he's kind of overworking. He's doing an awful lot of work for the team. He's out on the left wing and he's out on the right wing. We just need him to get into the box. But he does look a threat from these corners, and Southampton have just got another corner now. So I still think, if he gets one before half time, we're kind of laughing. But the way he's working, there's a risk he might get subbed off because, as I said, he's running around left, right, and centre. So, still not negative on the bet, but I could, I'd hope for a shot on target soon.
Yeah. I heard you guys talking, by the way, when I was doing the setup earlier on, that Waterford are still outside evens, haven't taken that goal. They're still 11-10, approaching half time there. Yeah, it's funny. We've talked about that before as well. When the bookies have set their starting price, it takes an awful lot for them to change their view of the match. Obviously, teams drift slightly, but they don't, wholesale change their opinion on the game.
I wonder, is there a big difference still between pre-game betting and in-play betting, particularly on leagues like that wouldn't be globally popular for gambling on. Where there's so much money has kind of locked in those odds, and a little bit of in-play betting isn't going to shift them a whole lot.
I'd say a lot of it is algo based. Like there's probably an algorithm that says, if the underdogs are 3-1 and they go 1-0 up, they get cut to even money or thereabouts.
Yeah,
and then if money starts coming, it adjusts. But you couldn't have a trader sitting watching all of the games going through and adjusting them. So I'd say there's a lot of markets that are just set to like scenario based. If the favourite takes the lead, they go to 1-7. If the outsider takes the lead, they go to even money, and then probably on a time scale then. But it'd be interesting to see. It's always been a kind of not a dream, but I've always liked to see the inside of a bookies, the working of it. I wouldn't have mind working there when I was younger or whatever, just to see exactly how they adjust those type of markets.
I was actually thinking that before as well, like an internship there would do you the world of good information-wise. Just saw something very funny in the Belgian game. One of the Leuven players was breaking down the wing, and he kind of got shouldered off the ball, shouldered away from the ball, and ended up just flying out over the sideline and kind of sweeping the legs of the linesman and sent him absolutely flying. So it's a free kick where that happened, but very, very entertaining. Oh, nearly a goal.
Den Bosch are after going up 2-1 here completely against the run of play.
Ouch.
Yeah,
I was actually going to say to you, would a goal be a good bet there? But it doesn't seem.
I wouldn't have expected it to go that way. I mean, Den Bosch have had 3 shots on target and have managed to get 2 goals from that.
You have to respect that, though.
Yeah, it's efficient. They're making the most of their chances for sure. It's just not great for our bet.
What would you say another goal in that game should be priced at?
Oh, well, I can see it here in front of me, so I can't pretend like I'm
4-7.
4-7, yeah.
I don't know how a penalty hasn't been given. I haven't got the sound on, so I don't know whether there's a VAR check going on. But I think that Villa should have had a penalty there.
It's not
players in the Premiership being sent off in recent weeks for high feet, and Romeo, who I need to be booked. The ball bounced on the way back from a corner, and instead of heading it, he went up to kick it, and he kicked the ball, but also kicked the striker in the head. I don't see how VAR don't review it, but it doesn't look like they are. I'd love to see a replay. They're not showing a replay of it at the minute, but to me, if they review it, it's a penalty. They're showing it now. Ball bounces up. It's like 6 foot in the air. He doesn't catch him in the head, but he catches him in the shoulder. Your foot shouldn't be that high. It wouldn't surprise me if a penalty is given, because your foot shouldn't be that high. So looks like they haven't given it, but he's a very, very lucky boy. Probably the fact that he got the ball so cleanly. But
I'm not sure getting the ball really negates a high tackle or a high boot. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I'd be interested if you guys see it to see your thoughts. Definitely live, I thought it was. The more I look back at it, I can see why it hasn't been given. But he's a lucky boy, I suppose, for the yellow card market. At least he's kind of on the radar of the referee now anyway. So
he's had his name ticked.
Yeah.
Leuven are knocking. They've had 5 consecutive corners here. This last one has finally gone out for just a clearance. It's not a corner. It's actually a great Ostend counter-attack here. I'd love them to score. No, overran it. But 5 in a row, just into the box, punched out, into the box, headed for a corner, into the box. So anyone who'd backed corners there, it's already been 11. I'm only 45 minutes into this game now. So, that would have been a lovely little burst of corners there for anyone who was on that market.
Yeah, I'd mentioned there was like 3 corners in the first 5 minutes, but it was like 2 to Leuven, I think, and 1 to what you call them, Ostend.
Yeah, so Ostend now have 4 and Leuven have 7. But like I said, they got 5 in a row.
I actually have corners backed in the Southampton game, and it's going similar to that. 32 minutes gone. There's 8 corners. So that's we said at the start, it was kind of a coin toss.
Lottery.
at the moment now, like, you know, that looks like a certainty to be in.
So what's your number? 10.5, is it?
Yeah, 10.5. So I need 3 more corners in an hour.
60 minutes left. Yeah.
So you'd be hoping that one's in. As like, given how like end to end this game has been, there's been no play in the middle of the park. Most of it has been down with Southampton attacking, but Villa have had a few attacks as well. So you'd be expecting a few more corners. It could even be in by half time at the rate they're going.
That reminds me, we had a few awful stories with that in the MLS last season, where we'd need 3 corners in the last 25 minutes, and it would finish with we need 3 corners.
Yeah, they can just dry up the odd time. You're well on track to it, and then they stop. But Jesus, 60 minutes for 3.
Oh yeah, it's guaranteed.
There's only 2 needed now. Martinez has just made a really good save from James Ward-Prowse. Looked like it was going in the top corner from looking at it first time. Shot from about 25 yards. Yeah, it was going top corner. He's made a brilliant save. Tipped it out for a corner kick. So 2 more to land that bet.
Another corner here in Belgium, by the way. So that's now 12. Sorry, go ahead, Slats.
Sorry, I was just going to say, you were saying earlier, Gary, that Shea Adams was looking at threat from corners, and now that they're about to take their 7th, has he come close in the last few to getting a shot on target?
No, a lot of the corners went a bit deeper. So I said he was kind of playing that front post role, and the balls were dropping kind of between the man that was kind of protecting the 6-yard box and the centre halves, and Adams was in that zone. But the last couple of corners have gone deeper towards the back post, so kind of gone over his head. He's playing very well in general play, making some great runs, but they're just not able to find him with that killer pass. I still think it's a good bet. They just need a little bit more composure, because Southampton are kind of a little bit panicking when they get into the good positions. Whereas if they slow it down, I think that they'll score another 2 or 3 here.
Yep, I like the sound of that. I've put on a small in-play bet here. It's halftime in Belgium, by the way. It's 4-1 for 19 corners. There's already been 12, so I've just put a tenner on that.
I know that the halves don't always, equal each other, but 4-1 still seems very high for there to be a similar, not even as many corners in the second half.
Yeah, like 60% of the corners again. But the way it's looking, like I said, obviously it hasn't turned into goals, but both teams are just going for this because they both fancy themselves as the better team. So they're just relentless pressure. You said there about the Southampton game, Gary, that it's like there's no midfield. This is like that as well. It's like, 5-0-5 formation from both teams, and they just get the ball back, hoof it down the pitch and run after it and try again. So, let's see how that goes in the second half. I've just flipped over to the Serie A game here. Nothing happening so far, but it's going to go to halftime in a couple of seconds. I'd say it's 47 and a bit on the clock.
The Grass Chapper still down 2-1 with time against them. It's just 10 minutes to go. They're 11-1 to win, and I'm tempted to chase it and just throw a small wager on that because they've just dominated so much now. I prefer to be watching the game because sometimes those stats can be a little deceiving, and maybe their shots on target have been pretty tame efforts. But I'm going to just go low stakes that they're going to come from a goal down and win that match in the last 10 minutes. I've just a fiver on it at 11-1. So they've a corner here. So.
Oh. Sorry, Southampton defender went to play a back pass there, left the keeper short, and it looked like Ollie Watkins was going to nick in and get the ball, but the keeper just got there to save the defender's blushes. But it would have been a travesty if Villa scored, because Southampton have been all over them. And there's been so I said El Ghazi, he got booked after about 10 minutes. He put in another tackle then and could have got booked for it. And he's just done the biggest, most blatant dive I've ever seen. And that's bad in the Premiership. He tried to get a penalty. He was running, thought the defender was going to come in and challenge him. The defender didn't even stick out his leg, and he just jumped on the floor. So he's lucky that the ref didn't give him another yellow card. But it probably brings the sent-off market in. So I'm going to go in and check now and see what it is for a player to be sent off. Because I said, to me, like if VAR or anything is watching that, they have to tell the referee that it was a dive. So he should be on his last kind
You're
of...
talking about El Ghazi, right?
Yeah, Ahmed El Ghazi, yeah.
What do you think he is to be sent off?
Well, I'd make him about 4 to 6, like, bro.
Now I have to get on this.
Yeah.
He's obviously going to tell us of better odds than that.
Slightly better, 11 to 1.
Jesus. No, like that seems like an unbelievable bet. As I said, like he has the yellow. I'll just double check that he has the yellow already, but unless my eyes are deceiving me, he has the yellow. So
I'll check it here. I'm on live score. Yeah, he's booked.
Yeah, so he got booked, and he got booked after about 10 minutes, I'd say, on the clock. And then he was running with the ball. Someone intercepted him, and he dragged him to the ground. And then he's had the dive in the 18-yard box. So, like, the ref has to have it in his head that he's coming close to last chance saloon. Like.
I'd say the only fear by the sound of it is that he'll be hauled off by the manager, who'll be, worried about the same thing, right?
Yeah, that always comes into it, I suppose. But I mean, he's done all that in 38 minutes, so there's a chance he'd be sent off by half time at this rate.
Where are you seeing that red card market? Is that on Betfair or is it somewhere else?
I'm on Bet365, go into the player section. So I put a tenner on that. Gary,
I need to try and get on it myself, because if it comes in and
I can put it on for either of you here if you want.
If you
wouldn't mind, if it's handy.
Yeah, I can only put on like that yes or no for a red card.
Okay, yeah,
which is 5.5 to 1, which actually doesn't seem bad either.
Yeah, considering you're getting 20 other players.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, the next lowest price player is 40 to 1 on Bet365. So, right, you got 10 each on that, guys. At 11 to 1.
Just cheering tackles now more than anything else. Tackles are more dives.
Players, I don't know what it is, but they just seem to have something in their head some days. Just like the diving, like what's he doing diving at this stage in the match? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, like it's one of those where you're expecting. He was definitely expecting the defender. It was actually a midfielder, James Ward-Prowse. He was expecting him to kind of dive in and then just go over a simulation or whatever. But the fact that Ward-Prowse kind of did a little jink and didn't actually tackle, he just ended up jumping in the air and landing on the floor. But like again, I'd assume the ref asked VAR, and VAR said like it's a dive. So like you'd have to have that in his head. I said now that he already has the
mad that these players go down with their hands sprawling and they're looking at the ref halfway down. Like that has to be a penalty or a yellow card. Like it can't. It's not like he just falling over.
Just be ignoring it, yeah.
Yeah, because if you're looking at the ref going down, your hands go out. That's simulation. You know what I mean? Obviously, if you've been pushed in the back, you'll get away with it. But like,
you're trying to cheat. Like you're trying to cheat the ref into giving you a penalty that isn't a penalty.
Yeah. Yeah, it was actually what you were saying about seeing the replays. So I was at that match. I was at it last night. The Pumas game in here in the Stadio Olimpico, and it was actually like it's such a pleasure to see. They show the replays on the screen. So my experience certainly in the Premier League, predominantly with Arsenal and a good bit with West Ham, they don't show the bad tackles or the kind of controversial decisions, but they were showing them here, and the crowd were going bananas. Like the refs getting abused because the home guys are showing the dodgy tackles up on the screen, and even though the decisions weren't being given.
Yeah, it's definitely cleansed in the Premier League. I think they did it one time at a West Ham match, and it was uproar. Like it was, I don't know whether it was a blatant penalty or blatant offside or something. They showed it, and it was obviously somebody made a mistake by showing it, and you just had 60,000 people wanting to lynch the ref. So I think they learned a lesson there, but it's definitely kind of cleansed the show. They don't even think for West Ham they show away goals. So like every home goal they'll show the replay of. But you know, sometimes you'll be there and you'll see someone just shocking defending or something. You want to kind of watch it again. I've noticed that they don't show it. So
well, sometimes that West Ham home crowd is like a tinderbox, so I can understand maybe why they need to keep it. Yeah.
Che Adams, I thought he was going to get a shot there, but he ended up laying it off to the edge of the box, and it was a good shot by Romeo. So I said this could be one of those games where you were saying it'll be, a team as being so dominant that they'll be hit and end up ruining the fact that they've missed so many chances. Because I'm not even taking the piss here. Like, if this game was 5-2 at halftime, it wouldn't be like, you'd believe it watching it. Like, it's been incredibly open, and Southampton have had by far the better chances. So, if Villa get in and get a good team talk at halftime, make a couple of changes, said Southampton could kind of rue the fact that they didn't capitalise on some of those opportunities.
Yeah. By the way,
Waterford have made it to half-time still with the lead there, up 1-0 against Shamrock Rovers.
Go on, the lads.
And they're still 21-20, still outside evens to go on and win that match.
It's mad. I don't know. They probably lose 2-1 now and we'll be...
I know, yeah.
But,
still, it was a great shout. I was gutted. I don't know if you heard that, LB. So I was doing... The Dutch games were all half-time. And there was two of them that were still 0-0. So I backed over 1.5 goals in each of those games, and then went in to treble it up with Waterford to win. And when I went into, Waterford had just scored, so I got them at like 6-5 instead of 7-2. The Dutch games, one of them's 1-1 and the other's 1-0 with 5 minutes left. So 3 of the 4 goals I need there are in, and Waterford are still winning. So it's looking all right, but it's one of those bets that I don't know, will I be more disappointed if I win it, than lose it, knowing that I could have had so much more had I got on it like 30 seconds earlier. But yeah, it's looking okay. I still need one more goal in one of the Dutch games before the Waterford game is even going to matter. So I'll let you know if that comes in. There's only, just 5 minutes now left. So I'll let you know if that comes in anyway. And I'll be waiting on Waterford for the second half then.
We're about to hit half-time in that English game, Gary, so maybe it's a good opportunity for you to run through your EFL. Maybe run through your recent EFL wins for us and then give us an insight into what you're backing at the weekend.
Yeah, sorry, there was just a chance there. So I was like, maybe that wasn't a good time. But the keeper's caught it there. So, I suppose we start with the kind of the booms. So last weekend landed the 16-1 treble. So I was delighted about that because kind of been knocking on the door for a while with the Akas. There'd been one leg that was just kind of letting the side down all the time. And obviously every pick I pick, I think it's a decent pick, but I felt like I've been picking the right things, but I just haven't been getting that little bit of look at the rub of the green. So last week it landed. So Exeter were the long shot in that they were about 5-2. And they scored in the 90th minute, which was good. So, it was kind of tense, and then they scored, landed the money. So, nice to get that on board, back to profitability for the season. So, if you put £10 on every bet that I've done this season in the EFL, you'd be up over £140. So, decent.
Or if you'd put 100 on each bet, you'd be up over £1,000. The more you bet, the more you win.
Yeah, I feel like that advised stake just increases as the P&L gets better and better. Yeah,
we haven't even had a few beers in us yet. But so delighted with that. As I said, it's good to kind of get the win on the board again. So I think it's a 12-1, a 16-1 multiple that we've landed this season in the first.
I think it was 14.
Probably about 12, 13 games this season. So not a bad return. And then obviously been a lot of singles in there. So the way I do it is I back all the picks, and I think most of us are the same. We back all the picks in singles, and then we put a multiple on as well. So if you're doing that, I said you're well up for the season. So that's good. So then on to this week, the League One and League Two. It's FA Cup weekend, so a lot of those teams are playing the FA Cup, so there's no matches, so limited to the Championship in terms of EFL action. I've gone with 4 home teams. So the first game is Birmingham and Reading, and this is it was actually really strange. I didn't really know how to write it down within the article, but the seasons have kind of been the inverse of each other for these two teams. So the first kind of 5 or 6 games, Reading couldn't win a game. They were conceding left, right, and centre. Birmingham won a good few games, we're on a decent roll. Then about kind of mid-September to the end of October, Reading went on a run winning games, and Birmingham couldn't win a game. And now it's kind of flipped back where Birmingham have won 3 in a row, and you have Reading coming into this game on a really bad run. So I've gone with Birmingham to continue that run of wins. They're at home. Their home form this season has been really good. And I said Reading have just started to concede a lot of goals. So I think that I can't see them keeping a clean sheet against a Birmingham team in form. And the fact that they're kind of on a bad run as well just means the 5 for 6 about a home win there looks good. Then the next is Millwall versus Derby. So in that game, it's really very much, if you look at Derby this season, like you have to give them a lot of credit. They had a restriction going into the season on players they could sign. I think they could only sign free agents. Then they started the season well, racked up a couple of points, and then they got a 12-point suspension for going into administration. So they went to, I think it was a negative points score. They've got that back. So they're still not out of touch at the bottom, and they could potentially stay up. But I think that there was a siege mentality there at Derby. Rooney's kind of passionate. I think he had that siege mentality. So they started the season on fire because they had that mentality. Then they got the points deduction and they kind of kept it going. But if you look at their last 6 games, they haven't won in their last 6 games. They've drawn 4 and lost 2. And the 2 losses have been their last 2 games. So I think that kind of mentality and buoyancy about, backs to the wall is starting to wear off, and they're starting to get found out a small bit.
Do you think that's kind of a permanent thing for them? That you think it's not a blip, like they've started to fade, the energy levels?
Yeah, I think so. And then it's actually good you say energy levels, because that was my next kind of point, is that they have a small squad, particularly defensively, and they have some old defenders or aging defenders. So the likes of Curtis Davis is playing there. He must be, I don't know what age he is, probably definitely late 30s or above mid 30s anyway. I'd say he's going to be 37, 38. And the championship is a long old slog. Playing midweek this week, then having to play away at a place like Millwall takes its toll on you. You don't even get the international breaks off. Usually there's games going. So I think it can be a tough slog for those teams. And with the small squad, Derby are start to be found out. So Millwall at 5 to 6 would probably be my nap here of this, because I said there's just a lot of variables in there. West Brom versus Middlesbrough is the next. So West Brom, obviously one of the favourites for promotion this season, and they were kind of falling out of touch in the promotion race. But Bournemouth lost during the week, which has kind of let West Brom back into it. So there's 6 points difference. West Brom know that they can't really afford to lose too many more games. And they've either been really good or really bad recently. So put it in the article that they've gone win, loss, win, loss, win, loss, win in their last 7 games. So they just can't get on that streak. Every time they win a game, they'll lose the next one. Hopefully that doesn't continue, because if you're going on that trend, they'll lose this game. But I think that they have to try and snap out of that. Their home form has been really good. They're unbeaten at home. In the 8 league games they've played this season, they've won 6 and drawn 2. And Middlesbrough have lost the last 2 games. So all that adds up to me saying a home win is kind of the most likely result. And that's 4 to 5. Yeah. And the last leg is Nottingham Forest against Preston. And this is probably the most kind of risky bet that I've put in, because Preston up until midweek were winless away from home. And then they went and beat a Bournemouth side who hadn't lost home or away this season. So I'm hoping that's kind of an anomaly and that they're not going to go on a run. But if you look at, firstly, Preston played away against Bournemouth on Wednesday night, and they have the backup now going away again to Nottingham Forest. So I'm big for looking at those kind of schedule nuances that puts pressure on teams. So 2 away games in 4 days is tough for a team to do. If you look at Nottingham Forest, they played Tuesday night and played at home. So they've had an extra day to recover, and they've got 2 home games in that period. So I think that'll have a bearing on it. Forest are still on a good run. They've only lost 1 in their last 9 games. So I think they're 5-6 as well to win. So I put them in. So 4 home teams, pays 12-1. I think it has a decent shout. Forest is probably the risky leg, but the others seem fairly robust.
Yeah, no, I really like the look of it. And, sometimes when you're looking at, you back the same result in all the games, you maybe get a bit doubtful of it. But I don't think you've picked 4 random home teams here. You make a pretty solid case for all of them, especially the last 2. I really like the 2 of them. I might even do them as a double at a bit of bigger stake myself. So, yeah, pretty solid there. I like to look at that. And like you said, you've on a great run of profit in the EFL this season. So no reason to stop backing them now. Although I must admit, I missed your first stack of win, which was a kicker. But, yeah, be on this one for sure.
Yeah, I'm just watching Sky Sports here, and they're highlighting. So obviously, I haven't got the sound on, but they're highlighting El Ghazi. So they've obviously picked up on it as well. That like they showed his foul that he got booked for, his foul that he could have got booked for, and then the dive that he should have got booked for. So it's not just me that's noticed it. But fingers crossed, he's left on, and that 11-1 for the sending off can come true.
Yeah. And just for anyone who is new to the stream or it hasn't been with us for very, very long, we actually are quite a lot of profit up. We've had a few huge winners in the live betting kind of in-play markets like that one there. So we watch these games live. We're not just picking these markets out of the air. We're watched and bet a lot of football over the years. So we like to think we have an idea what we're talking about. And Gary has picked out an 11-1 there for El Ghazi to be sent off. And we've had a lot of double-digit winners. You had a 7-1 last week, Gary. I think the week before we had a 12-1, and then we obviously had that 40-1 earlier in the season. I think that week we had a couple of double digits as well. So we're well up for the season in the live betting. So well worth paying attention to what the guys call out.
At the 16-1 the same week as the 40-1. Yeah, that was a good.
I knew there was another one. Yeah, I didn't want to say it though.
Sure.
Yeah, so well up and for the streams. So yeah, we're all on that, and it is back in Belgium, by the way. A little bit of a scrappy enough start to the second half. Nothing really to report. I don't know if I actually said it when we were talking, but Regina in the Serie B scored before you started the EFL or early in the EFL segment. So 20 minutes to go there, and just need a home goal for the both teams to score, and that obviously doesn't help the ACA, but we're here. The second half it just got a bit exciting. Aston had a really good chance, but the final ball into the box just got a bit sloppy and it was cleared. But 50 minutes on the clock, and we still need a good bit to go there, but fingers crossed.
You mentioned the ACA there, LB, but unfortunately that's full time. Den Bosch beat the Grass Chap 2-1 in the end, so unfortunately our ACA is dead for this week.
That's a pity. No, doesn't mean you have to stop commenting, guys. You can still comment away, and there's no prizes to be given this week. It was a great chance for
an interesting item on the Waterford versus Shamrock Rovers game. So I don't know. I haven't noticed that it's been suspended, but just got an update from a friend there who's actually watching the game live. The Rovers fans were letting fireworks off in the ground and firing them towards the pitch. So the ref actually took the players off after 16 minutes and then brought them back out again. But the fireworks started up again, so he's brought them back off. So if you are betting on that game, if it says whatever 40 minutes gone, I think it's 45 minutes at the moment on the bookie sites, there's probably going to be quite a lot of time added on. There's obviously the risk of the game being called off as well if that kind of crowd trouble continues. So, it's I've sent on a video of it here, so I'm going to watch it myself.
I know they've talked about other offences. I don't know in the League of Ireland. I'm actually not sure. But if it's very clearly one set of fans causing the problem, they just forfeit the match as opposed to cancel it. So you forfeit as opposed to. I know that happens in a few countries.
Jesus, I've just been sent on a video here. We'll get it up on our socials. Like, they're those firecrackers that, go and explode so that all the colours come out of them.
Yeah.
Fire.
And they must be hitting the stand and coming out onto the pitch, and it's exploding over the player's head. So one of the Waterford players got hit on the shoulder with the sparks that were coming out of it. I'll get it up on our social. So
I just seen that there as well, and not to even be like, obviously it would suit me very much. That's an immediate freaking. That's a serious punishment for Rovers there. To be honest, that's
I don't know whether
even having a bit of crack.
Put you under pressure. You being our chief producer, but is there any way of us getting that up on screen here? Do you think?
I'll try.
I know that's probably putting a lot of pressure on you, but we'll try and get it up on screen for anybody watching in. But geez, I haven't seen anything like that at a football match in Europe in a long time. But even in the stand, they seem to be exploding. You can see up the back of the stand, there's the firework going off, but it just isn't leaving the stand. It's hitting the stand and coming back out. It's there's definitely going to be trouble over there. One of the Waterford players got hit in the head with a flame.
Oh, that, yeah.
How long needs to be gone in a football match for the result to stand if the ref blows it up early?
In my head, it was an hour back when we were younger, but I have no idea.
Pretty sure in rugby it's an hour. Well, I mean, 60 out of 80 minutes. That the result stands. Yeah, I don't know what it is in football. I'm sure the bookies would still have some objection about it if you won on the back of a result like that.
Yeah. It is. I mean, I'm all for crowd trouble. I'm kind of a fan of the heavy atmospheres in football, but it's a little bit kind of, Rovers, the game means nothing to them, but there's a lot of other teams that these 3 points will be very important for at the end of the season. So it's a bit undesirable. Let me see if I can get this up now. It looks to be working, actually.
Sorry, I'm just tweeting it out here off our social as well. So if we can't get it up on screen, if you go on to our Sports Rundown Twitter page, you'll be able to see it now in a moment. So, yeah, I haven't seen anything like that in quite some time. As you said, Liam, it's a very bad kind of sportsmanship given the situation that, obviously it's dangerous as well, but given the situation Waterford are in and needing to win that game, like, setting fireworks off over the head of players just isn't.
You have to wonder there as well, the stewards, like someone's probably going to be in a bit of trouble for that one. Yeah, let's put that up there now. The way it is at the minute, I think we will lose audio connection with you, but we'll put that on in a second and show it. Yeah, that's right on the pitch. One of the players actually got hit right in the face. Yeah. Yeah, that's mad. Absolutely mad.
Yeah, is our audio back now then?
Yeah, we're good.
All right, great. Yeah, thanks for doing that. I said, it's so rare that you see something like that. You kind of had to get it shown to the viewers. So, I said if you're backing in that game, there's definitely going to be added on time anyway. So,
or like you said, even the risk that it gets.
I've a decent in-play double. I'm just going to shout out there. I was just looking at the stats. I'm in the dregs of Welsh football now. Welsh Championship North. Two teams that I'm pretty sure none of us would ever have heard of is Ruton Town versus Llangefni Town. But just looking at the shots, like that home side Ruton are 4-9 for the win, but they've had like 20 shots and 10 corners, and 14 of those shots have been on target. Wow. They're just absolutely dominating. There's half an hour to go. And yeah, they've just been all over their opponent. So I just did a same game multi of 2 or more goals with that Ruton to win. It just feels like one of those games, if they do score, that they could push on and win by a couple. So I'm on that.
So what's the bet? Ruton to win and over 1.5?
And over 1.5, yeah.
Not a bad one.
I got it at about a little shy of 6-4. And yeah, I just think it looks, just based on the stats alone, I don't know anything about these teams, but I just like these in-play ones where there's a clear home favourite. They've obviously drifted out to 4-9 from whatever they were at kickoff, probably about 1-6 or something. And, you know, they've just been dominating the whole match. I'm just hoping that away side are going to get a bit tired. And, you know, like I said, once one goal goes in, a couple could. So, yeah, I'll keep you posted on how that goes.
Yeah, and then just the Southampton versus Villa game has started back. And Villa have come fast out of the traps. They've went straight on the attack. And it was actually El Ghazi had a good chance at the back post. Header came off the defender, it's gone out for a corner. So corner is just about to be swung in now.
That's your 11 corners in your same game multi as well, is it?
Oh, is that it, Ian? I didn't know whether it was 10 or 11, but
I'm seeing 11.
I said more just the fact that they've come out on fire. It's a bit concerning for Southampton fans. It's not what you would have wanted straight after half time. It's been a free kick now, so it's free out. But yeah, it looks like the exciting element to the game is going to continue.
Very nearly a goal there for Aston. We needed 8 corners in the second half for that bet I called out, and there's been 2 so far. So it is up to 14. Do we need 8? But there's 14 anyway, so 9 to Leuven and 5 to Ostend.
So how many more, sorry, did you say needed?
I need to hit over 19, so I need to hit 20. So I need 6 now. I need 5 now, sorry. No, 6. Time myself in knots.
With half an hour to go.
Yeah, it's a long shot, but it's a good price.
Yeah. Now, plenty of time left there anyway, yeah.
Yeah.
There's another corner there as well, so it's well in. It was actually El Ghazi again, so he's involved in a little bit of everything. El Ghazi, fingers crossed, he gets another yellow card.
Yeah, that'd be ideal now.
I think just being involved like that is good anyway, because you know he's just in on the action all the time, just a late challenge or
that's why it keeps the kind of the not motivation, but I don't know, blood pumping or whatever. Like
exactly, yeah.
It also reduces the likelihood that he'll get subbed off as well. Like if he was starting to fade from the game, you might just take him off. But if he's creating chances or getting involved in a positive way for this team, then he's much more likely to be left on there.
I'm feeling bizarrely confident about this to come in, given it's an 11-1 shot. Maybe it was Gary's mentioning that it should be about 4-6.
Yeah.
No, but like, I mean, honestly, I would like if I was pricing him up for a yellow card. Let's say you hadn't got booked for the first challenge.
Yeah,
I'd say you would have been 4-6 for a yellow card. And I'd say that dive is enough to like piss anybody off. So if the ref hears about that, he has to be on the radar anyway. So
you'd hope so, yeah.
Yeah.
But like I said, Villa have 4 minutes gone. And Villa have had all the possession in this half. So we mentioned in the first half about Southampton not taking their chances. Could be about to come to fruition that they kind of rue that.
Yeah, big time.
No shots yet for Shea Adams anyway, I take it, no?
No, but Ollie Watkins had a good break there, but he ended up actually laying it off. I thought he was going to take a shot. He laid it off to Buendia. And Buendia put it just wide. But decent play by Villa. They've started this half. They've probably done more in the start of the second half than they did in the whole first half, to be honest.
Yeah. While there's a bit of a lull in the matches, we might go to you, Slats, for a La Liga rundown. So we've had, again, anyone who's not familiar with Sports Rundown, we've got sport and country specialist, and we have a Savage who does his Spanish football insights for us every week, and he has an article up this week with plenty of La Liga insights.
Yeah, it's a good article up there. It's a bit of a review of last weekend's action, the top pieces from last weekend, and then Savage goes on to kind of talk through the highlights of the games this weekend. Now, we've mentioned it before that he's not that keen on the gambling side of it. He knows his La Liga, but the bets themselves come from us. So we, if they go wrong, we wouldn't want to blame Savage for making these calls. But so based on his information and stats and how he sees the matches going, I've pieced a couple of bets together for him. So yeah, the first game he's previewed is the Madrid Rayo Vallecano game, and he kind of goes to talk about Vallecano sitting in sixth. They're having a pretty decent season. They had a big win over Barca, but he doesn't think he thinks they'll put up a bit of a contest, but they won't have enough to beat Madrid. And it goes on to talk about Benzema's form and that he's one of the best players out there, even at 33. So he's fancying a bit of an open game and a Real win. So I had a bit of look at what sort of value there was on that, and Real to win with over 2.5 goals is 5-6. So it feels pretty likely given how Savage sees that game going. Next up then is Valencia versus Atletico Madrid, and I personally, I like the look of this bet. I picked it based on, again, what Savage has said here, but he's just talked about Valencia were in a bit of a poor run. They'd gone 7 games without a win, but they turned that around last week with a decent win. And then, Madrid, they haven't been great away from home. They've had a few late goals to get equalizers and wins late on in games, but they haven't been that convincing on the road. And then, they had Champions League during the week and got a hiding. So, the confidence would probably be pretty low. Valencia at home, will want to make the most of that. And they're decent odds to win the game, but I've gone for the safer option of Valencia double chance. So a win or a draw will win you that bet at 4-5. I think that looks pretty solid based on how poor Atletico were during the week. I saw some of that match and they weren't at the races at all. They obviously got the red card too. So, things, haven't looked great for them away from home. And then the last one is Betis versus Sevilla. So that's Betis in 5th versus Sevilla, who are 3rd. Should be a decent contest. But again, Savage just fancies the home side here. They've had a pretty good home record. And they lost recently, but he thinks it's more of a blip in form. They've been on great form. One loss, he's expecting them to bounce back. So I just thought it was good odds on Betis for the win at home is 7-4, so it's not far off 2-1. And yeah, I think that's a good shout as well.
I think I'm going to back those as well. But you make a good point there that we have to put an asterisk beside those bets and not have poor Savage's name dragged through the mud.
Yeah, if they don't come in, yeah.
I always feel especially bad when it's my turn to put the bets up for him because of my absolutely dire record on Spanish football. So I always feel like I should just tip Real Madrid to win at 2-7 and leave it at that.
I've just put on a bet there, lads. I'm going to call out. So that Southampton haven't come out for this second half at all from what I've seen. Villa have been on top. They've just had a run of 4 corners in a row there. So Villa are 12-1. So I've had a sneaky bet on them with Waterford to hold on against Shamrock Rovers, and then Empoli have equalised in the Serie A. So I've gone for them to kind of win again or win as well. So they're half an hour left in that game, but that treble is 60-1. So
nice.
Yeah, speculative. Obviously, a lot to do with Villa to get back into this game, but the way they've started the second half. And we've talked a lot about the fact that Southampton didn't take their chances in the first. I think 12-1 is too big.
Yeah, and Leuven have scored, by the way, while you were talking. So that is 1-0 to the home side there. Not sure about the late goals. I mean, need 2 of them. Still 25 minutes left, and it still looks very open. But it is, 1-0 to Leuven. And very close to being a penalty to Leuven as well just after that. Wasn't given and probably the right thing to do. I forget the name of the Leuven centre forward. He was kind of running in on goal, chasing a long ball in towards the box. And the centre back was trying to shepherd him around, keep him away from the ball so the keeper could come out. I think he was a little bit over enthusiastic in his shepherding of the ball, and the keeper cleaned him out then, but the keeper got the ball, so you'd always give that to the keeper there. But I think the shepherding was a little bit enthusiastic anyway. Game is suspended here now while a couple of fake Aston injuries are investigated. They've lost the momentum here, so the near penalty and the goal, so they're obviously just catching their breath. So like I said, 2 goals needed, both one for extended and any goal then after that, 20 minutes to get them. Oh, are they going to review that? That could have been a red card, actually. That fake injury that I said all the players to pick.
Gone back on it.
Yeah, but just the Leuven player just went kind of in over his ankle there. Anyway, it's not been reviewed, so we move on.
So, just something you were mentioning earlier about the delay in that Waterford Shamrock Rovers game. And are the clocks on the betting sites correct now? Do you reckon it's showing like it's past 60 minutes in that match now? But I'm not sure. Was there a 15-minute delay in the first half? And it's
I'll try and check here for you, lads, because I wouldn't be 100% sure.
I'll hop on to Twitter's probably the best place to suss that out, is it?
I'd say so. I'll check for you now. I'm on it here. So
yeah, sure. Let us know if you spot what's going on there. Yeah, they're still up 1-0, obviously, but we know there was a big delay there with fireworks going off in the stands, so it's hard to know.
Yeah, it is. It's the second half, so there was only 9 minutes added on in the first half. But it's into the second half now. So yeah, 63 minutes gone.
Yeah, I do think that the bookies they're always getting the start of the halves correct. So even if there's like severe delays, they won't restart the half.
No, I just wasn't sure. Was the clock still going in the first half of the game? That it hadn't actually.
Yeah, because sometimes I think Sky Bet do that to just leave the clock running, which can be confusing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean they're finally odds on to win now. Anyway, Waterford they're 4-7.
At what point does that flick from just like sticking it outside evens to just okay? There's 3 minutes left here now. They're probably a good bet to go on and win.
Yeah, I think it was still at the start of the second half. They were 11-10 or 21-20 to win. So yeah, it certainly took a while. I guess once you get inside the last half hour of a game, if you're Shamrock Rovers and you're still losing, it's not that likely you're gonna turn it around.
Yeah, but we've talked about this loads of times. Like at that level of sport, there's close to negligible difference in talent between these guys. You take your very, very elite guys out the top, and so it's down to motivation after that, and mentality and discipline. And you've won the league. What's the point in kicking on?
Especially the first week after winning it. I mean, whether they have a literal hangover from a party or just a bit of a mental hangover from like you're saying, the kind of lack of motivation, the drop in motivation because you already have won. It's definitely going to impact the week after you've guaranteed the title. Like,
really. Actually, I was texting my old man that earlier. He was talking about going to the match, and we were saying that it'll be either an emotional and or literal hangover that they're going to have. So hopefully it continues on now. Ostend have made a couple of changes. They're going for this here. Like I said, I kind of called this at the start of the show. I don't see either team settling for this here because they'll know there's much tougher games to come. So you might as well lose to Leuven 3-0 than settle for a 1-0 loss. So yeah, 20 minutes to go there. 2 goals required.
This is where your late goals prediction is going to come into play, is it?
Fingers crossed that it comes in that way.
It'd be quite impressive now if it does actually work out for you. That way.
Yeah, I'll go back and I'll cut out all the clips from the show where I'm talking about the late goals. Leuven on the counter-attack here. This is actually looking promising. Go on. Fouled. Yellow card has to be surely. Yeah. Or no yellow. How is this Premier League game looking, Gary? Half an hour to go.
Premier League game. Yeah, like it's probably going to set a record for corners. I'd say there's probably been about 7 or 8 for each team, and they're all still attacking. Romeo has just got booked, so he's in my same game multi. So a lot to do, but it's still not out of it. So basically, I need the 2 strikers, so the Villa striker and so Ollie Watkins and Southampton striker Che Adams both have 2 shots on target, and that'll land the same game multi. But Slats, we talked through it at the start, and I was telling you that Romeo is just a liability.
Yeah,
and he was due a yellow card. So he got it there. He just elbowed a player off the ball.
What was the odds for that alone? I know it bumped up your same game multi.
I think it was nearly 2 to 1.
Was it?
It wasn't massive odds, but it wasn't like odds on either. It was probably maybe 13 to 8 or 15 to 8, one of those. I can't remember offhand. But Villa have a chance here now, a free kick, kind of at the edge of the 18-yard box, but kind of at the penalty spot direction. So I say it'll be a cross-come shot, just trying to get in at the back post and hope that somebody can get a touch on it. But Villa have been much the better team in the start of the second half, so they weren't in the first half at all. But they look fired up for this. The fans behind the goal are fired up as well. So just about to take this free kick. There's a sub being made, so that's the delay.
Surely that game is drifting to the point where just another goal is looking like a good bet.
It probably is. I don't have the marker in front of me, but I like.
It's only 4 to 9.
It's back to that whole thing of like no midfield battle or whatever. It's just attack after attack.
4 to 9 for a goal. I'd nearly feel there's a little better value in backing 2 more goals at a kind of smaller stake. It's 11 to 5 for 2 more.
Okay.
As normally happens when you big things up and you say that it's a really dangerous opportunity. Leon Bailey, who was taking the free kick, absolutely skied it. I'm surprised the ball even stayed in the stadium. So disappointing end to that kind of decent opportunity for Southampton, or sorry, for Villa. And now they'll be actually worried about this because Livramento, who's been a really good player for them since he signed for Chelsea this season, he's down here where it looks like an ankle injury, so they wouldn't want him to go off. He plays left back for them. He's been really good this season, as I said. So they'd be hoping he's not injured.
Yeah, hate to see it. Another good chance here for a stand, and then when it came time to shoot, speaking of skying it, he's after launching that ball. So 15 minutes to go. Still need 2 goals, and into injury time in that Serie B game.
Shamrock Rovers are after equalised just on the 70 minute.
But still, like, I mean, Waterford still have the more to play for, so totally out of it.
Yeah, they've gone back out to 13 to 2 now. Probably get them at 7 to 1 on the exchange, maybe even a bit better.
Actually, if you fancy it, the start of the match,
yeah. So, yeah, I guess it's hard to know that one unless you're tracking the match and you know what I mean, like can see how it's going. They look fairly balanced. I mean, when I say that, Waterford have only had 30% of the possession, but you know, they've had a bit of territory, a few attacks, and plenty of shots. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't think I'm going to get on it because just, you know, without watching the match, the Shamrock Rovers goal could swing the momentum their way. They could get a bit of a burst of energy and confidence, and you know, start playing like the champions they've been crowned last week. So, I think I'll avoid it. But yeah,
this game doesn't actually look to be on the exchange. So,
oh really? No.
Yeah, I think I've said that to you before. I've seen a lot of the games, especially Waterford's home games in the RSC, don't have great in-play stats and or.
Sorry, Che Adams got one of his shots on target anyway. So free kick for Southampton, swung in from the right-hand side. Great header. As I said, he was getting into really good positions from the corner, going into a similar position from this free kick at the front post, headed towards the back post. And I think only a keeper like Martinez can save that. The fact that he's so tall, like he's about 6'6", it was going right in the top corner. He managed to pull it out. So that same game multi is down to one Che Adams shot on target and 2 Ollie Watkins shot on target. So still a good bit to do, but it's back in play anyway.
What odds was that again, Gary? That was huge odds, was it?
It was 56-1, nearly 57-1. So.
Yeah, I mean, you'd be happy enough with that as it stands. Just a few strikers.
Yeah, you'd settle for a 56-1, all right. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think if Watkins can get a shot on target in the next kind of 5 minutes, it opens it up, because I don't think Watkins will be subbed. He's their main striker. Adams might get subbed, but again, he's playing very well. So, he might get subbed, but he's playing very well. So, it's just on the Watkins shot on target now. If it can get that pretty quickly,
hopefully, in the meantime, we can get this red card up as well.
Yeah, exactly. It'd be good. Like, what we want is an El Ghazi foul for a penalty that Che Adams takes.
Yeah. I see Empoli have turned that game around from 1-0 down. They're up 2-1 now. With about 15 to go.
Yeah, I've put a tenner on here. I've put in a draw in the Villa game and Watford to get a winner. So that is 34-1. So Watford to score and Villa to score, basically. So we'll see.
I might tail you on that one. Would be a nice way to end the show if we got that double up.
Get the double up, cash out, and then get Gary's winner on the Villa. Just seems like a reach at this stage of the game for me to go in on the Villa win with whatever it is, nearly 70 gone. Strange that Watford game is on Bet365. They keep flittering between 13-2 and 7-1. They're at the 7-1 again now, but it's not on the exchange, so I don't know why not. But
it happens sometimes. Yeah, they just don't have it.
There are definitely feed issues from the RSC and Watford home game, so I know that there's a lot of times you don't see certain things there, so I'm not too surprised by that. Kind of annoyed at this Belgian game now, because it's, I did actually say in the article that I thought Leuven would win, but I went for the safer option of goals. So of course they're going to win 1-0 now without any goals. It's suspended. I'm not sure why. I'm looking at the screen here. There's a player walking down the sideline injured, but he's got his jacket on, so it shouldn't be a suspension issue. But maybe someone's getting a talking to. Right. For Waterford, by the way, Finn Harps are also drawn. They're at home to Derry, and I kind of assumed that they'd win that match. That was a later kickoff, so it's still nearly half an hour to go there. But I think if they don't win that, that's a big boost for Waterford as well. Obviously, a car crash scenario is Rovers score and Finn Harps score, and then I think Waterford and Finn Harps will be tied on points. But as things stand, it's going okay without that winner.
How many games are left in that league? It's coming rapidly.
This is the penultimate, I think.
Oh, is it that close? I thought there was a few left. I didn't realize it was.
Let me go in and check. I'm pretty sure it's this game and then maybe one more. There's at least one more, maybe, but I think it's just the one. Right now, 80 minutes on the clock in Belgium, so see if this prediction of late goals comes to anything.
It would be impressive if he got 2 in the last 10 minutes. I'd be impressed.
A couple of their games have had 2 in the last 10 minutes. One of them even had a goal after 90, like 84 and then 90. So, not beyond reason. So this game, there's 2 games left each. So Waterford have Longford Town and then St. Pat's. So let's see. Oh, flares are going off in Belgium actually, and no, shot to nothing. Shamrock Rovers just scored, by the way. 2-1 Rovers.
Oh, well. Yeah, they must have got a bit of confidence from that equaliser and kind of kicked on from there by the look of it.
Yeah, happens.
Yeah, that sort of momentum, you really get that in games like that.
Yeah, especially when you look at it. I mean, like you said, that they have the form after winning the league, so they obviously have the talent. Yeah. And then Waterford are in a relegation battle. So, oh well. Yeah, hopefully now Finn Harvest don't score for me personally, but we will see how that pans out. They're nearly 10-1 on the exchange, or they're nearly 10 on the exchange, and nearly 9-1. I nearly just put a small bet on them just to soften that blow should it come. So how's your bet looking, Slats? The Welsh action that you had on?
Oh, I've gone quiet on it for a reason. I was like, let's just put that one to the side and forget that I was going near the Welsh Championship North. There was actually a red card for the away underdogs who haven't done a whole lot in this game. And I was hoping that might, lead to a goal, but it's still 0-0 and there's only 4 minutes left. So yeah, not ideal. Not what I was hoping for there, but it's one of those things. If they got one, you wouldn't be that surprised if they went back down and scored a second pretty soon after. But it's just that the clock's running out. The red card might add a couple of minutes injury time, or if there have been additional injuries, obviously. But yeah, like going into 3 minutes of normal play, even with 5 minutes of injury time, you're still getting pretty unlikely for 2 goals.
They're asking for a lot, yeah.
Yeah, they're 15-8 now just for the win. Which, even for that much against 10 men with 3 minutes left, that's still probably a bit of a stretch. But yeah, I think probably dead there. I'll let you know if there is a goal, and there might be a couple of minutes injury time to cheer on a second. But not looking likely.
I think you stepped away, Gary. Waterford conceded while you were gone. We have Gary back. We have Gary back on audio.
We're all just
sorry.
waiting for
Sorry, I was on mute there.
Zoom special.
Yeah, I'd step away for a second. Starting to look unlikely that I'll get the same game multi up, but both players are still on the pitch, so 15 minutes left, or just over 15 minutes left, still a chance. Could really do with one of those, like especially for Watkins, a shot, a rebound, then another shot kind of thing.
Yeah.
It was actually in the West Ham game on Sunday. There was a few of those where I think, especially one of the goals where Bowen took a shot, the keeper saved it, and it went to Lanzini, and Lanzini scored, or was it Fornals? And Fornals scored. And you're getting those shots on target instantly. So you need a few of those in this game.
Yeah, would be nice. One of my predictions for the Belgian match that was completely wrong. Well, I suppose maybe at this stage of the game, 86 minutes, Leuven had a 3-on-2 and a very, very well-positioned 3-on-2. There was all the Aston players were down the field. The 2 defenders were kind of on the halfway line and they were split. I forget, I couldn't see who it was. Sorry, for Leuven was running down the middle, and then there was a guy running on the outside of either centre back. So it was exactly what you'd want. And instead of going for the goal, the guy just went off at an angle himself, cut out the run of his own player, and played for the corner. So that is not a promising sign when you're looking for goals. So Leuven, I suppose 86 minutes on the clock is the smart thing to do. They're hanging on for this win. We did call it at the start of the game that it was a must-win really for both teams. So I think with 4 minutes left, they're starting to settle here.
Yeah, what you'd need is Aston to get one back, and if it went to 1-1, both sides might give it one last run of the dice for the win, and something might happen.
Yeah, exactly. So that is the story there. Oh, nearly a goal. No, never mind. I'm a bit quiet. It seems to be around the various games. Not a huge amount to report at the minute.
Yeah, no, not much substitutions happening here in the Premier League game. So, as I said, quiet, just 76 minutes gone. So, fingers crossed we get a exciting last 15 minutes.
All the players that we want to be on the pitch are still on the pitch anyway, are they?
They're all there, yeah.
And the one that we don't want to be on the pitch seems to be still there. We want him to be.
He is still hanging around like a bad smell, but
we don't want him to be subbed off.
Yeah,
I think is the main thing.
Oh yeah. I put you were away, Gary. I was saying to Slats that Finn Harps were struggling at home against Derry, and I said I just put a small bet on Finn Harps just to soften the blow to myself personally if they did get a winner. So I think I've been matched. It's actually gone suspended here now as well, but they're out to 13-1. So I have a small bet on that. Should they? I was back now, and they're 16-1, 15.5 on the exchange. So was that 14.5-1? So that nothing has changed there by the looks of things. Offensive substitutions in Leuven. They are 100% settling for this win. Happy for them, but annoyed about the bet because I did call out the home win. I just didn't went for the safe option, and unfortunately that backfired.
So there was a Southampton player has gone down claiming he was elbowed, but I didn't see who elbowed him, so I was hoping it was going to be El Ghazi, but it wasn't. So
El Ghazi to get in an argument with the ref about it, hopefully.
Yeah.
Get involved in the afters. Ideal.
Yeah, but like they have to start going chasing like even more than they have been now. Villa taking a few risks, so there is a chance. Although this could be him getting dragged, is it? Yeah, shit, he's just being dragged.
Oh, shit.
Anyway, by the way,
there was always a chance of it happening, like, you know,
against Empoli. Yeah, that has already updated to a loss. That bet.
Yeah, this Welsh game is wrapping up as well, and that away team I'd say would be pretty happy to come out with a draw based on those stats, and based on, you know, having a red card for the last 10 or 15 minutes of the game as well. 29 shots they conceded, 21 of them on target. That keeper's probably going to get called up for the international team.
Yeah.
I wonder in this...
Oh my God, the away team actually just scored there. Sorry, Gary. These underdogs who had about 2 shots all match and conceded 23 shots on target and had 10 players playing have gone up 1-0 in the 4th minute of injury time.
But odds they must have been massive.
See what odds they were. They must have been out at about 40-1 or something.
Oh, nice for anyone who might have got on that.
Yeah, that'd be amazing. Yeah, 10 players and dominated the whole game long. I'm actually delighted for them, seeing as my bet wasn't going to come in anyway.
Yeah, exactly. I'd be the same as that. If your bet's not going in, you hope the team that you're looking at just lose.
The team that lets you down, yeah. Always go against them.
I was just going to go off on a general musing there about the corners in this Villa game. There's been 17 corners so far, so I was wondering what odds it would be for that over. So I checked just the Manchester Derby tomorrow just to see, you know, is there an indication there? Because you get an indication of what it is. So the highest it goes to over 15.5, but that's 10-1. So
wow.
You'd probably be looking at like 25-1 for over 16.5, maybe, or 17.5 corners. Like, it doesn't happen that often. Like, but might be
no. It happened in this Belgium game as well. We're up to, by the way, 17 in my one here as well. 9 for Leuven and 8 for Ostend, but into injury time, so I doubt my bet's going to come good there. but two very corner heavy games.
Yeah, and I don't know what you want to give. Well, I suppose we'll give a heads up to people that we're going to be covering some of the horse racing that's going to be on this evening. Yep. So the Breeders' Cup is kind of kicking off this evening. It's going to be on for the next 2 days. So there's been races already. There's been 5 races, but the kind of proper races get going in 10 minutes time. So, but actually 12 minutes time. So looking forward to getting stuck into that. So, John, once the football ends, we'll move into the racing and our usual NFL slot as well. So anybody watching in, make sure to stick around for that.
Do you have anyone tipped up in that first race, Gary?
Yeah. So I don't know what you want me to do now, or do you want us to hold off a few minutes? But
yeah, I mean we could hold off. But you were saying it's only 10 minutes away.
Yeah, sure. I'll get into it now. So basically, on the website, I tipped up a horse called Twilight Jet. It's an Irish horse. Won a good race last time out, and I actually tipped it up on the site last time out when it won as well. So, but it's not just like loyalty that has me tipping them up. I actually think it has a really good chance. And this track is kind of like idiosyncratic in that it's not like a normal track. It has a really, really sharp bend on it and a really short home straight. So you have to be lucky with the draw. And he's drawn in stall 1, which is a really good draw for for that track. So I tipped him up, and I've also given a good shout for an outsider. So he's about 8-1 at the minute. I tipped up a 20-1 shot as well. It's called Coffee Maker. It's coming out of stall 2, has some decent form. So they're the 2. I've actually backed both of them myself, but I'll be hoping Twilight Jet wins and Coffee Maker finishes placed.
Heavily on Coffee Maker. Based on your article, I kind of got the feeling you fancied Coffee Maker more. You made a very convincing case for it, so I've got in on that. I hope he wins because I've most of my money on the straight win on the exchange. But
are they in the same race? I can see Twilight Jet. I'm not seeing.
Yeah, Coffee Maker is. If you're down the bottom of the betting, it's like an outsider. But like, just to I kind of made.
I read that name about 10 times, and I think I would have died before I realized it was Coffee Maker until I heard it said out loud today. I was like, cow something or other. I had no idea what it was.
Oh, right. That's okay.
Cow. I
didn't see coffee anywhere.
I was talking
coffee with a K.
Yeah, I was talking to a
it's not just coffee with a K. It's coffee with a Koufy.
Yeah, it's not coffee. Koff. We were talking about it.
Phonetic spelling of it, like.
I don't even think it's that. Like, that is just such a weird combination of letters. So I'd said to one of our friends, Healy, obviously you all know him, I was like, he said, do you have any bets later? I was like, I've got this one based on Nolan's article, but I don't know what it is. I just, he made a good case. He's like, is it Coffee Maker? And in my head, I was just like, definitely not that, because I'd remember that. And then I showed him my bet, and he's like, yeah, that's Coffee Maker. I was like, oh, okay, if you say so. So I'm in on that one.
Just to point out, in that, like, so in both of the articles, I've kind of made a big deal of the draw, and people might think I've kind of been over, like, taking that into account. But in the first 5 races, like stall 4 won, stall 1, stall 5, stall 2, and then the stall 11 won. So 4 of the first 5 races have come from like the inside draw. It's very, very hard to win from the outside stalls, particularly in this race, which is a 5 furlong race. So, they kind of start on a bend and they're on a bend all the way around. So if you're on the outside, you're just running way more distance than the other runners. And that's why I think Twilight Jet and Coffee Maker have a really, really good shout, because if they can break early, they'll have like a really good trip around, and like they'll cover less distance than the other runners, basically. So, if in this race, there's a couple of them like drawn, even the favourite is drawn an 8, and I think that's a terrible draw. I wouldn't be backing the favourite, even though it's probably the best horse in the race. It'd be very, very hard to win from that far out wide.
So what you're saying is a forecast of Twilight Jet and Coffee Maker.
Yes.
Oh God, I have to do that now that it's been
I'm
said
doing
out
my
loud.
job now as well.
Yeah, God damn it. Yeah, but just for anyone who's not familiar with Gary and or his horse racing articles on the website, he's very, very knowledgeable about horse racing in general, but especially things like that, like courses, sort of race structure, you know, the length of it, all that sort of stuff that maybe anyone like myself who's a bit new to racing might not, you know, pay much heed to. He's very, very knowledgeable in that regard. So if he's tipping up horses based on the draw or based on the track, it's well worth paying attention to.
I also have my hat ready to go for it, so
nice.
We'll hold off for another few minutes yet till we're cheering on the forecast, and then I'll stick it back on.
Actually, by the way, I don't know if you noticed it, Gary. I don't see Del Mar on the on Bet365.
Yeah, it's in North America. You have to go scroll down a lot on it, but it should be there. It's like down the very, very bottom because for some reason they put North America down at the end of their screen, so you'll have all of like the French racing, and then even sometimes it's like South Africa and India go before it.
Okay.
I don't know if you saw Shamrock Rovers went up 3-1 there against Waterford.
No, I didn't.
We don't want more bad news, lads. No more bad news allowed.
Thanks for that, though. Yeah,
we'll get it all in there before this forecast goes off.
Only 6 minutes to go now, so
this race.
Yeah, 6 minutes to go till the race. So
okay.
God, I was so convinced that red card was going to come in that Southampton Villa game.
So was I, man. Right? Like, I still can't believe, like, VAR should be able to bring back that. Like, if they're able to bring a foul back for a penalty, they should be able to bring a dive back that's a blatant dive as well. Like, do you know that way? It'd stop players from trying it on.
As well, like, I never, ever expect a game that has an early goal, like a goal in this 3 minutes in, to stay that score, you know, for the rest of the match. You know, we were even saying when the goal went in, like, this could be a goal-orama now. Villa need to go for it. They've been leaking goals at the back. You would have put your house on more goals to come.
That's it. And, like, there should have been, but and I said this in the article, it's obviously great now in the 88th minute going back and saying this, but, like, Southampton just don't score many goals. They've had the chances here. They could have scored 6 tonight if they, you know, had a bit of composure up front, but they just seem to miss chances at will. So this is like, you know, kind of bringing on their average of just under 1 goal a game kind of thing. Like, you know, they're not high scorers, and they're never going to beat a team by, you know, 3 or 4-0, I don't think. That's why I didn't go with the over 2.5. It was priced up at like 20 to 23, which should have been a decent price based especially on Villa's form. You just couldn't trust Southampton to score the goals.
Awful news for Waterford, by the way. Finn Harps have just scored, so they've now leapfrogged Waterford in the table. So Waterford are now in that relegation playoff spot.
Did you end up backing Finn Harps?
Yeah, I got them at.
I didn't hear you cheering.
No,
it's one of those where the heart is.
Yeah, it's not making me happy. I mean, I'll be glad tomorrow when I have my €120 from the bet, but I will not be happy now to see them. I mean, it's still Derry could still pull one, I suppose. 85 something, so unlikely. Hopefully Waterford beat Longford, and then maybe St. Pat's have given up by the time they played them in the last day of the game or last game of the season. Who knows? But not great.
I have absolutely no idea why, but 7 minutes have been added on in the Southampton Villa game. It baffles me why. I don't know. I remember a big delay. Maybe it was when I stepped away that there was a delay or something like that. But 7 minutes left to play, so I suppose it still keeps my same guy multi somewhat live, even though asking for a lot there. Still need 3 shots on target, but
you'd certainly need the 2 Ollie Watkins ones to come one after the other.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
At a minimum.
Yeah. Just wondering what way we should do this, guys, in terms of the horse racing. We just stick with our 3 and then shuffle the deck in terms of our. We just got a text from a reliable friend of ours, Tom, who just said Derry Penno, which would be great news for me personally, because after getting the
Did you cash?
Goal. No, I just backed the Finn Harp's goal. I didn't back.
Finn Harp's goal.
Really?
Okay.
Oh, sorry,
yeah,
hold on.
Derry scored. That's gone in.
Scored. I think that puts Waterford back above in the table. Let that up.
For anybody new that's looking in, you couldn't tell by the accent. Liam is a Waterford fan, so hence the furore around this and the interest in it.
Founding member of the Mexico City Blues over here, the one and only.
You have to get that going. Surely, next time one of your family are going over, they're going to bring a scarf and you can get it in some sports bar over in Mexico.
Yeah, actually, it's a good idea. Get some sort of spread it around, take a few photos, hopefully get myself a free beer when I get home.
I think the draw will put Finn Harps above Waterford on goal difference. They'll both be on 40 points. I'm just looking at the table here.
It's even though, you'd have to think that it comes down to goal difference here. Yeah, Waterford's goal difference is no, Waterford have a better goal difference. They've scored 4. Waterford have scored 18 and conceded 35. Finn Harps have scored 14 and conceded 37. Does that not make Waterford's better?
Are you not looking at losses and goals for there?
Yeah, no. As I said about Loud, I was like, how the hell have they scored 14 goals in 34 games? So, yeah, no, Finn Harps have the better goal difference.
Yeah, but it's a big advantage that Waterford are playing Longford last game too. Yeah. Or not last game, but next week, is it? Yeah, Longford first and then St. Pat's. Yeah, like Longford have lost their last 6 games in a row. They've lost they've given up. 6. They've lost 12 of their last 13 games. So. Who would be the playoff from the first division, guys? Who's coming up? Or hopefully not coming up if it comes to that. But
I think it is Bray or UCD, but to be honest, I don't know offhand. We have a comment in from Paul Kelly here. That's 2 on target for Adams now. Don't know if I'm late to the party. No, he got 2 on target there. Yeah, I was watching that. Dermot backing in Chester. Exactly, Dermot. Yeah, Dermot's referring to Del Mar, where the Breeders' Cup has been held in Chester. And I actually heard a rumor that the draw is so bad, or the impact of the draw is so bad at Chester, that they've had to start paying the horses that are drawn wide their connections to turn up. So normally in a horse race, there's a pool of money, and then it gets dished out depending on where you finish. But they've had to pay basically costs for the horses to show up if they're given a bad draw, because especially over short distance, they've no chance of winning. This race is about to go off now. So do you want to talk us through it, guys? Yeah, it's going to be fairly quick. It'll be over in less than a minute, or just less than a minute. I think usually it's around 57 or 58 seconds, I think. So just about a break from the gates now. We're looking for stalls 1 and 2 who have broke fairly well. Coffee Maker is out really well, sitting in second position. The favourite hasn't really got out. It's going to be trapped too wide on the way around the bend, so that's good for us backing against the favourite. So Twilight Jet is in third, Coffee Maker is in about 6th, but both of them are on the rail there. So a nice position to have. About halfway through, Twilight Jet is still about a length and a half to make up on the top 2, but not going too badly. Coffee Maker's under a little bit of pressure, probably needs to stay on. Go on, Twilight Jet. So the favourite isn't going to win anyway, it doesn't look like. Not too sure. We haven't won. Go Bears Go is finishing, and Hierarchy's finishing, but number 6, I'm not too sure exactly. Twilight Gleaming, I think, is it? Twilight Gleaming. Yeah. He got a really, really, really good break and basically led all the way. So, broke out, got into the lead and led all the way. Probably hampered Twilight Jet a little bit at the start to get across, but that it's just the way, and it's 56 seconds, 56.24 seconds, so just under a minute. That's just the look around Del Mar. I said the low draws, and if you can get out early, break and hold that position, it's a big advantage. So no look there. I don't think we got a place on those horses. I'll just double check. So where is Twilight Jet? Yeah, not a bad race from Twilight Jet. Just got swallowed up close home. Coffee Maker finished like a train. Did it get in the top 4? I think Coffee Maker may have got top 4. Oh, very close. It's either going to be 4th or 5th. So I know my bookie is paying top 4 for this race. But Twilight Gleeman got a really, really good break and did well to get across. That won at the race. If I hadn't got out as well as it did, I don't think it would have had much of a chance. I'm trying to look here to see who got 4th. Coffee Maker could have got 3rd. It's on the nod. There's about the length of a horse's head covering 3rd, 4th, and 5th. So it just depends what end Coffee Maker comes out of that there. But hopefully
good tipping though, Gary.
Like a bit of a strange race because the way it finished, it was in a decent position at the start and then seemed to get outpaced and then finished like a train.
Just coming off that bend really cost you. That whatever way he came out of the bend, it didn't work.
Yeah, if Coffee Maker had been able to get Twilight Jet's position, I know like ifs and buts, but if you need to be sitting kind of on the inside rail there to come storming home, but it did very well to get there. And
just on a different note, sorry to cut you off. I didn't mean to. I don't know what I did. I know I said I backed Finn Harps, and then I thought I backed Finn Harps to score. I actually backed both teams to score. I don't know how I did that, but that was actually my bet. So pretty happy with that. Complete. Kind of a klutz of a bet, but it actually worked out.
That was 12-1, was it?
Yeah. I
was thinking that you were saying, oh, it's another goal. I was like, oh, that's very high for...
Yeah, so whatever way I had in my head, I needed them to score. But yeah, now I'm seeing both teams to score anyway, settled in my account. So yeah, just in case it looked very in case it looked very inconsistent what I was saying, I wanted to clear that up. Right, I think that's the end of the football here. So not the best night in terms of results. We had a few chances earlier, but it didn't really go our way. So finished 1-0 to Leuven. We did recommend that unofficially on the site. You got your over 2.5 and both teams to score in the Netherlands, but that second goal went the wrong way. And then your Southampton Villa bets were much better, Gary. So you carried the flag for us there. If you're interested in any of the other leagues, so Serie A, La Liga, Ligue 1, all weekend, plenty of betting content on SportsRundown.com on those leagues. Like we said a few times, we have country experts, so make sure to head over there. We've got Dermot, who'll be joining us very shortly for the NFL and racing. And we have Enzo and Savage with their respective leagues. So make sure to check out sportsrundown.com over the weekend for plenty of free betting picks and advice. And we will be back for the football at the same time next week, 7:30. We will kick off the show. Same as always, we put the bets on, you can win them, and we'll talk through the games live and answer any questions you might have. So thanks for tuning in. We're going to take a slight break here. The stream won't end, but we will step away for a minute or two, and we'll be back very shortly for the horse racing, and we'll make our Circa Millions picks at the same time. So thanks, guys, for tuning in, and we'll see you shortly.
Yeah, cheers, guys.
Nice one.
welcome back. Thanks to everyone who stuck with us. We had a little break there. We are back now. You can see Paul. Paul, thanks for joining us.
No bother, lads. How's things?
Good. You had the winner in the last one there, Paul. Do you want to talk us through that?
Lucky guess is how I'll talk you through it. I mean,
nice.
I did.
You can take more credit than that, PK.
I did a quick scan through this morning, and then obviously Gary's running a week competition amongst us and friends and stuff like that in house, and I had to pick a horse, so I took Twilight Gleeman, and to my delight, he won the first one. So long may it continue. I have a lucky 31 on with my 5 selections too, so that's a really good start.
Nice one.
Mm-hmm.
I'm happy that Irad. So basically, for anybody who doesn't follow American racing, Irad Ortiz Jr. is basically the best jockey out there. So I'm glad he started on form, because not in the next race, the race after, he's on the horse I've tipped up. So the 11:10 in UK time. So what's that, 6:10 Eastern? He's on Bubble Rock, and I'm hoping he can get a winner on the board for the website. But yeah, nice to see him getting winners on the board anyway.
Yeah, nice start. All right.
Always good.
So anyone who is familiar with the show, you know that this part of the show we usually do the Circa Million selection, so we will do that again tonight. We have them lined up and we will talk through the board. Second quarter is going better than the first quarter, so very happy about that. And then as the Breeders' Cup races come along, we'll cut to the live market. We'll show you the odds. The guys will talk through their picks, and Gary will give us a running commentary on the race, and then we will come back and we'll continue on with the Circa like that. So the next race is 20 minutes away, am I right? So
yeah.
We will come to that in a moment. I'll guess you give us a couple of minutes talk on that one, Gary, and I will just work on one thing here behind the scenes.
A couple of minutes. I don't know whether I'll be able to do that or not now, but this is one of the smaller fields of the day, and kind of as such, there's a strong favourite in it. So I think the favourite is priced up at even money at the minute. So you have to make a decision whether you want to take that on or not. I would. We spent the last few minutes of our normal stream talking about how big the draw is. Echo Zulu is drawn in 6. Should be able to get across from there. It's a mile, but again, you do need to break well. My fancy here is Hidden Connection. So kind of a bit of an unknown, but he's unbeaten. But hasn't really run at this level yet. So I'm taking a chance on him at 7-2. Sequest was beaten by Echo Zulu a long way last time out, but there was 50-1 about him earlier on. If you could get to 50-1, it's probably not the worst bet in the world. He's drawn 3 and Canton Front Run. But I said, yeah, it's probably a coin toss between Echo Zulu and Hidden Connection, and I'm siding with Hidden Connection. PK, who did you pick out on this one?
Yeah, I went Hidden Connection too. Obviously, short price favourite, but I was trying to find some sort of value in behind it. So I went Hidden Connection too, a bit of an unknown, but unbeaten. So willing to take a chance on it. Not that I know a whole pile about it, but too short on the favourite. So that's where I landed.
Yeah, I watched his races back this morning, and Joe, he kind of hasn't really been asked many questions, so there could be a lot under the bonnet. That I said it is a little bit of an unknown. These two, so today is 2-year-old races where it's called Future Stars Day. So some of these horses, like this race, for instance, like the max that any horse in this race has run is 3 times, so you don't really have too much to go on. But I said in Hidden Connections, 2 runs to date, he looked like he's had more in the tank at the end of the race. So fingers crossed it's that way today.
So I see we have a comment in from Southampton back from last week. How are you all doing? We're doing well. Glad to have you back with us. A little later than usual, but always happy to see a familiar face, or a familiar name at least. You might see that things look a little bit different here this week, Southampton. We're finished the football for the night. The European football is wrapped up, so we've moved on. This is the part where we're going to do our Circa picks, and obviously there's a big horse racing event on the Breeders' Cup, so we'll be talking about that. So if you want to just get back into the chat, Gary, I just wanted to call out that comment.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Elby. Yeah, so I said I was at the Breeders' Cup about 2 years ago. Well, exactly 2 years ago. So anybody who's watching and who's into horse racing, I very much recommend it. It's a great couple of days out. Del Mar, as we kind of went through before, has kind of its own way. It's a very unique track, and it can mean some of the races the best horse doesn't win. So that's why we're kind of saying in the next race to back against the favourite, because if you get any sort of bad luck on this track, you can be out of the race straight away. So yeah, hoping that Hidden Connection can do it for us. And I said I wouldn't rule out Sequest if he can get a good break. This taking place in California, so hence why it's on so late. But the next race is like after this. There's a race at 11:10 our time that is wide open. I think you could back any of the runners and get a good chance or get a good run out of them. So really looking forward to that race. I see the next one up being a short field race. Isn't usually what you get the Breeders' Cup. Usually there's kind of double digits in terms of numbers. So you have a lot of value on show.
Gary, is it an expensive trip to make, like in terms of being at the Breeders' Cup? Because obviously,
no, not really. Like, I mean,
it's not a huge trip for me now, so it's something I'd give due consideration to, given the weather's crap here in November. So
yeah, like we went, and obviously we didn't just travel over and back for that, so we spent probably 2 weeks in LA, and then the 2 days up at Santa Anita. So you can see on the hat there it has Santa Anita. So spent the 2 days up in Santa Anita at the race, and it was very good. The entrance itself is cheap enough, so again you can go as kind of frugal or as like flashy as you want. If you want booze and food and things like that included, you're probably paying upwards of $400 or $500 at kind of a minimum for a seat and things like that. But if you want just general admission, I think it was something like, so the first day we had a fairly good package, and the second day we just got the general admission. It's probably $25, $30 each just for the general admission, so it wasn't too bad for a big tournament like this. And yeah, just great atmosphere around the place. It's very different to European racing, but it's just kind of one of those once in a lifetime opportunities and kind of bucket list things if you're into horse racing. So definitely recommend it, especially if you from Toronto, PK. You have no excuse. It's just a short hop.
Yeah, well, that's it. I'll have to look into it now in the next couple of years, and I have time and opportunity to get there.
Yeah, well, give me a shout. I'll head over with you. But the thing about it is, Breeders' Cup moves around, so
I know that. Yeah. Churchill last year, right?
Sorry,
it was in Churchill last year, right?
Yeah, and then it goes to Belmont as well. I actually really like to get to the Belmont Park one, so that'd be even handier for you.
I could drive down to that.
Yeah. So I actually been to New York so many times, and I haven't been to Belmont. It's actually a disgrace. So next time I go, I need to venture out, even if it's just a lowly meeting.
Yeah, I think my brother's been to the Belmont Stakes, but he didn't know what he was doing. He just went for a day out and at the races. But it looks a good time anyway.
Yeah, definitely, and especially if you can get a group of people,
for sure,
it's always a good crack. And most importantly, a few winners while they're there,
Yeah, we have 10 minutes before this next race, so I think we'll do one or two of the circus. Maybe we'll get through a couple of the less important games that we're unlikely to agree on, or that we're unlikely to want in. So a change of pace there. The first game up, we'll go with you on this one, Gary. The Texans and the Dolphins. 4.5 point home favorites here. What do you make of that one? Is that worth looking into? Does it tempt you at all?
Like slightly would tempt me. But how could you be confident on a team that's lost 6 in a row now for the Dolphins?
Yeah.
You couldn't really be too confident of that. It's not really a game I have a strong opinion on. Obviously, Parker could be out. Devontae Parker could be out for the Dolphins. He has a hamstring injury. They've been fairly shocking on defense. It's going to come down to which team makes the least mistakes, and both teams this season have been very prone to mistakes. So I wouldn't be taking the spread, even though I think the Dolphins should cover. If I was having a bet, I would probably just have a small bet on the Texans on the money line, because I do think it could go anyway. So what would you get? Probably about 6-4, 2-1 on the money line. That'd probably be my bet here. But yeah, I'll probably leave the game alone totally, to be honest.
Okay. Dermot, are you with us now? Can we
I
hear
hope
you?
so. Can you hear me?
Oh, we can hear you now, Dermot. Yeah.
Well, Dermot.
Hey, not like having 2 degrees in IT and making a mess of a stream.
Typical first night. That's how it goes. Thanks for coming on, Dermot. Appreciate you. You're a regular commenter on the show, so good to have you here with us now. So I'm sure you picked up on everything we said while you were off air, but we're going to run through the...
I didn't know I had the stream open because I actually shut down the other laptop. I couldn't figure out to get rid of it.
All right. Well, we'll be flicking over and back between the Circa picks and the racing as they come up.
I'm pulling them up. I bring them up here as Gary had them here. So.
We'll give you your inaugural pick of the show. What do you think of the Texans at Miami? Would you have any interest in that one, Dermot?
Straight in at the deep end, huh?
Yeah, no.
I just have to. What line is this? What's the line at?
4.5.
I don't have it up in front of me. So yet 4.5 to the Dolphins.
Yeah.
Yep.
Everything. That's definite.
Really?
Good. I like the. Unless Tua is out, I couldn't imagine why the line is short enough. The Texans are very, very bad.
That they are.
Just like.
But I'm not overly convinced that the Dolphins are much better. I don't even think it'd make any difference if Tua was out or not. I don't think they're a better team with him.
I think they're not playing as a team. I think that's their problem. There's something internal that's causing an issue, but you have to think some of them have some pride, like so.
Yeah, well, their defense gave them a great chance last week against the Bills, well, in the first half, but their offense just give them nothing. So, I mean, you could call it a spirited performance, but like they're
desperate need of a running back. Like that running back by committee worked last year, but it's not doing a thing this year.
Yeah, but I think the PK's point, if you look at the Dolphins' defense last season, they were class, and they just had even though they've been all right this season, they haven't been at the same level. And I think that's what's showing them up. But then to your point, Dermot, a couple of running backs have gone through there and not really performed. There's a Kenyon Drake they thought was going to be the next big thing. He's going to go in fits and spurts now in Arizona, but he hasn't really taken off there either. So,
Gaskin is done. Gaskin was great last year, done nothing this year, but. Your man Howard is he got paid and he's quit. That's simple as that. He's just giving up the ghost. He's not doing a thing for them.
They're a weird organization, because a couple of years ago you thought Flowers was kind of turning it around, and now it just looks like it's flopped again. And you're like, what is going wrong there? Like, what exactly is happening? It's hard to put your finger on it.
Well, I fancied him in the smaller contest. With 7.5, so I definitely fancy him with 4.5 anyway. So,
for me anyway, it's not a game I could touch. Both of these teams are absolutely dire, so whichever one wins, fair play to them. It'll up their stats for the season, but it's not a game I have any interest in. That's for sure.
So we're all agreed on the side, but probably just Dermot as a pick, and then the rest of us a slight lean. So I'd say we'll get to five picks that we're stronger on than that, but we can
hopefully anyway. Otherwise we're struggling
back. Yeah,
it's not a good sign if that's
this one should be a straightforward one. So we will probably have time 6 minutes to the next race, so we can fit it in. Denver Broncos travel to Arlington. They take on the Texans. 10-point home favorites here. We'll go to UPK. Is 10 points too many for the Cowboys?
I mean,
perfect record against the spread this season.
Yeah, but I think it's the first spread where the bookies are actually looking like they've copped on to the Cowboys. I think they've been underestimated every other week, and this is one of them lines where it's just taking somewhat a 2-score line, and you're just like, I mean, the Broncos are bad. don't like the line. I know Prescott's back, and like the Cowboys defense has been huge. Like Micah Parsons been brilliant. Rookie season. Trevon Diggs. I mean, there's not much. When they have all the pieces fit, the Cowboys are legit. I mean, no, it's too touch and go, as you can tell. I just can't make up my mind, so it's not one I'd put in. If I had to choose, I would choose the Cowboys because I have no confidence in the Broncos whatsoever, but it's just too much of a line for me to put in my top 5.
Gary, what do you make? Do you agree with PK?
Yeah, I think, I had the Cowboys probably as my pick 6 here. So again, if I know you're a Cowboys fanboy, LB, so if you were strong on them, I wouldn't mind it going in as a pick. But you have to think, with the Broncos trading away Von Miller as well, are they just have they given up on this season and going to look to, have a big draft next season and try and make a push? That'd be in the back of my mind with them. They're obviously a better side at Mile High as well. So, there isn't much in the Broncos' favour going into this. Cowboys should cover the 10-point spread, in my opinion. But again, it's not the top 5.
Yeah, it's not one of my picks, and Dermot alluded to the private competition we have. I didn't take them there either. I do like it. I think they will probably cover, but I hate 10 as a line anyway, so I've left it out. I have a lean, but no pick. What about you, Dermot? You fancy it? Will they cover?
It depends. If the Broncos last week turn up, they probably will. But at 9.5 maybe, but I wouldn't go near it. It's not an obvious side to the Broncos, so I wouldn't go near it. Like the Cowboys could beat them by 30, or they could just scrape home if Dak gets injured again. But no, I wouldn't go near it myself.
Yes, you mentioned an injury there. I think that as well. There's the season is starting to wear. You could easily see players not come out in the fourth quarter if they're up by a good bit and then get caught out here through the back. So I think we all lean the same way, but probably not going to go into that one.
I think Gary made a great point there, though, that the Broncos have traded away Von Miller there, and clearly, I mean, that says from the director's box down to the squad that we've given up on this season. So how that affects the team,
considering their injuries at that position as well, they're banged up. So if Bradley Chubb's not there at all, and they're giving away their next best player to him,
Yeah, and it wasn't by choice that Miller went either. It didn't seem to be anyway. Like I saw, I think it was like a local press interview with him where they got him just on the side of the road, out the window of his car. He's kind of doing a Harry Redknapp interview for any of the UK people watching. But he was quite emotional when he was talking about it, Miller, and kind of he didn't seem like he wanted to go. He was kind of like, my heart's always going to be here, and I'll put in the effort for the Rams, but it didn't seem like he wanted out to win a title. I think he would have gladly stayed, and it was kind of a front office decision. So, as you said, PK, that has to filter through the squad, and there's going to be a lot of the players on defense looking around, being like, who's going to step up and kind of fill the void. And other people thinking they're going to be shafted in that defense as well. The fact he's gone. So, I think it has to have an impact on their thinking going into the game.
We sound more confident on it now than we did at the start. But
I mean, the more I talked about it, the more I'm like,
talk ourselves into this one.
Probably should have taken this one.
Right, a blowout in Arlington. So we'll move off now. We'll come back to the racing. We've got 2 minutes before the next schedule starts. I'm not sure if our American friends are as untimely as they are on this side of the waters, but it's a short field. Do you have any bets in this one, Dermot?
Not just in the contest at all. I don't know anything about any of these horses, so I just give it a miss.
Who did you take in the contest, Dermot?
Favourite. When in doubt, back to favourite.
I've gone the other way. I've taken the rank outsider.
10 points is better than no points.
No, I've gone the other way. I think that everyone is going to go in on the favourite in this one, so hoping for an upset and a bit of differential.
Yeah, this meeting lacks a few handicaps for me. That doesn't suit me at all.
As you said the other day, there were a few jumps as well.
5 furlong hurdles now would be a great job.
I've gone for Hidden Connection here, LB. So Hidden Connection to win, and then I've also done a forecast Hidden Connection to finish first and Sequest to finish second. So that should pay a juicy enough forecast if it comes in. Hoping that the favourites wide draw counts against them here, drawing out in 6. So
you've done a forecast on Hidden Connection and Sequest. Sequest is a big old price now, 34 on the exchange.
Yeah, he was 50 to 1 this morning with UK bookmakers. He's into about 25 to 1 now. But I said the forecast on that should pay a decent amount. So yeah, hoping for that. But I said Hidden Connection is the main bet.
Nice, yeah. Like I said, I've gone on that rank outside our Desert Dawn, expecting very little back from it. But I just thought I don't know anything about these horses, and it's a small field. He's got a good draw, and he's won on this track before over this distance, so worth it.
And Dermot, why wouldn't you be a big fan of the flat now?
I am. Like, I was seriously into the flat 20 years ago now. No, I'd be back in 2-year-olds on the breeding for that was my main money maker, and then just got sick of it, fancying the jumps. But no, there's so much snow in the flat. Like the breeding is it's such a big part of it.
Yeah.
Even when the horses get older, it's still a part of it. And to start knowing the stallions, like what type of ground they like, what type of ground the mares like, it's endless. To keep on track with it, just gets so hard. It takes the enjoyment out of it after a while. So, you know. Plus, if a good horse retire at 3 and you don't see him again.
But that's the big thing now when you see them go away.
It's a great thing about the jumps is, season after season you have the following, you have a cult following of a horse, and
that's it. Like
they become like you know them inside out. Like whereas, obviously the good flat ones go off to sire or broodmare fairly early. So, yeah. Well, we're back in the jump season anyway in the UK anyway in Ireland. So
I'm hoping to go down to Gore now in a couple of weeks. So that'll be.
Oh, TS is on, is it?
No, it's just
early, is it?
Reading. I think Alaho's due to run down there, so go down and have a look at him.
Yeah, I'm not going to make a horse, and the syndicate are going to see Grangy on that day, so I was going to go home and venture down, and I think they're going to go on afterwards, but I'm home the next week for Thanksgiving, so I said I'd leave it off. I'll be doing 2 weekends in a row on a plane. They're about to head off here now, in the gates.
Definitely behind you, so.
Yeah, so it's a mile broken out there. I'm not going to walk through everything, but the favour has actually gone out well. So the favour is probably I don't know why the jockeys have let him get such an easy lead. If I had one of the jockeys on the inside, I would have gone up and tried to spoil his easy lead, but he's got out on the front end there. So whereas Hidden Connection's been held up in 5th, and Sequest is held up in last. So I need a bit of luck to get through, but small field, so they should have a better chance than in that last race where it was big field over 5 furlongs. Just cruising down the back straight now. So
Sequest a lot to do there.
Yeah, sometimes the jockeys are a bit brain dead. Like I mean, obviously I've never sat on a thoroughbred racehorse before, but like given the favourite such an easy lead like that just seems like a bit of a stupid thing to do. So I've been stoked along now, coming into the final bend. Fave still hasn't been asked for anything. There's something moving up on the outside. Juju's map is going fairly well. But I'd say the favourite is going to win here. Echo Zulu still hasn't been asked for anything entering the stretch.
He's going to cruise it.
Yeah, it's hard to see anything challenging it now, unless it doesn't stay the mile. But he's going to win about 5-6 lengths.
They go so hard in this American racing. Once you're ahead at the bend, you're as good as home, aren't you?
That was a handy win. Now, if you're on him at 4-5, it's like buying money.
Yeah. How many people had him in the competition, Gary? Was it a popular pick?
It was, I think just from memory, it was probably 3/4 of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say a lot of people had him all right. I think it was between the top 2.
Right, we will
back to the
NFL. Yeah. So the Vikings at Baltimore, 6-point home favourites here, third in a row home favourites. We'll go to you, Dermot, first on this one. Is that line about right, or is it a bit too low?
The line's about right, but I wouldn't go near it. Look, the Vikings were awful last week. They were desperate. I don't know how they were so close in the game, but that's their thing, though, isn't it? They're so sticky. You can't get a score up on them. You can't get a head lead on them. So I wouldn't fancy that line at all. Even though you'd imagine the Baltimore are going to win easily, but I don't know. I wouldn't. I kind
of had the same thoughts myself. If they won by double digits, you wouldn't be surprised, but at the same time, you wouldn't be looking to get on that line.
-5 wasn't too bad. -6 is getting. I know it's only a point, but it's getting to the wrong side of things.
Yeah. What about you, PK?
I'd take the Ravens here.
It's definitely lean Ravens. Sorry.
Yeah, Vikings are sticky, but they were just so bad. They left that game out in the pitch last week. It was real bad. The Ravens, like the door is open in the AFC now to push for the number 1 seed, and I think this is the kind of game you have to put to bed. The Ravens have looked decent recently too, and I just feel like this is a game where they'll go and just keep the foot on the throat, so to speak, and lay down a marker. So I have them as number 5 on my list here at -6.
Number 5, Gary. Where do you stand on this one?
I'm exactly the same as PK there. I like the Vikings can be explosive the odd times, like Kirk Cousins, if he kind of gets it together, can be explosive, but they also make too many mistakes. They have a couple of injuries on defense as well, which be slightly worried about. So that all comes together going into cold Baltimore. I think you have to take Baltimore here. So they weren't top of my list, but they were. I think they were 5th. I haven't got the list in front of me, but they were 4th or 5th on it.
Okay, so 2 picks and 2 leans. So there's a good chance this one is going to go in. We're all on the same side. PK and Gary pretty hot on the Ravens. Myself and Dermot agree, but not particularly hot on the line. So it's probably come back to that one. So we move on to game 4 now, or game 5 of the week, but obviously we haven't taken Thursday. So game 4, the first home underdog. The Patriots 3.5-point favourites at Carolina. We go to you, Gary. What do you think of this one? Patriots favourite.
Yeah, I suppose it's McCaffrey back. I know I saw him priced up on the bookies, but I saw that he's back kind of training, but I don't know whether he's going to play or not.
They took him off injured reserve, but that's as much as I know.
I don't even. He's just running in practice. He's not doing anything.
So the fact that he was priced up with the bookmakers, I thought he might play. I think if he plays, I'd probably rethink it. If he doesn't, I can see this being a very nip and tuck game, and the half point would scare me. So probably be one of those that you'd end up ruining sticking it in because it'll be won by a field goal and you'd be kind of sick. So on that basis, I'll leave it out. But as I would have fit McCaffrey in there at home, you'd have to fancy the Panthers. Obviously, we won't know that probably till Sunday afternoon, so it's probably best to leave it out.
Yeah, Dermot, where do you stand on this one?
I've gone for the Patriots myself on this. I think the line is right, and I think it's again a Belichick love, and it's just that type of defense versus defense. I'll prove I'm the better defensive coordinator, I have the better defense, and he'll go for it, and it'll be the type of game he want to run up a score as well. So I definitely go for the Patriots in this one. The Panthers offense is probably going to be without Darnold, and there's talks of PJ Walker being out too. What are they going to do after that? Play McCaffrey quarterback? There's going to be nothing for them after that.
PK, where do you go? Do you agree with that?
I didn't actually know that. I didn't know Darnold was going to be missing, to be honest with you. But
I'm not sure he's definitely out, but he hadn't clear concussion this morning anyway.
Oh, okay. And let's call it spade as spade. He's been shocking in the last few months anyway. So started off first like a world beater, and then he's just been a different player. So
I mean, when they were entertaining ideas of trading for Watson, I think kind of condemned him already. But I hate both these teams. I mean, they've screwed me. They've screwed me. I don't think I've won on either side of these teams this year. The Pats have outplayed themselves, and I thought they were going to get beat like last week against the Chargers, and the Panthers just haven't shown up when I thought they were. So I'm more than happy to leave this game. If I had to choose, I'd probably take the Panthers due to the fact that it's a 3.5 point game. As Gary said, that half point makes quite a big difference there in what could be a nip-tuck game. But Stephen Gilmore will be going back there with a bit of a chip in his shoulder too for this game. But yeah, it's one I don't even think I'd watch. I don't like either team.
Okay, so that's a
lot of offense anyway, PK.
No. There's only so many times teams can screw me over, and they go on my whatever that C list as we call it here, but or we call it at home. But yeah, no, I'm done with both these.
So that's a skip from you.
Note yourself, don't get on PK's bad side.
Oh, exactly. Yeah. I'll never back you again.
I'm kind of the same myself. I couldn't pick a team in this game, so I decided to leave it out. I don't like the 3.5s in general, but yeah, two awful looking teams in my opinion from a betting perspective. So happy to just to stay away. Right, so that's probably not going to go in either. We got a hot pick from Dermot, and then a lot of indecision between the rest of us. So next one up, the Bills go to Jacksonville, 15-point road favourites, which is a monster line. Back to you. We go UPK first this time. The Bills laying 15.5 points on the road in Jacksonville.
Yeah, monster line, but I suppose the Bills showed last week there against Miami that they're kind of ruthless. But you'd be inclined to think if this game won at half time, they'll pull people out. So that line is scary. Obviously, if the Bills want it, they can do it. But if anyone was watching the Colts game last night against the Jets, it's when you know you've won, you're inclined to just step the foot off the gas, and it's just too high a line for me to take for a competition like this.
Yeah, it's kind of my thinking too. I mean, I think that the result is in no doubt, but outside 2 touchdowns is a huge amount to ask. What do you think, Dermot? Is it a pick for you or a pick or a skip?
No, it's a skip, but this could. You could justify this being plus 25 and having a go at it because their Jags are very bad. But PK mentioned that 1 point we were just talking about a bit earlier, and I mentioned it myself that the Bills are ruthless. Like, they will keep racking up the points. It's just like McDermott has no stopping point. He's just keep running up the score. And they haven't been taking guys out of the games. Like, I assume they're going to have to do it at some stage, but this could be an annihilation. It could be 40 points at half time.
You have to imagine this game like in the third quarter. There's going to be a point where he just pulls out Josh Allen.
He must do. He hasn't done it yet. That's the thing, though. He like the time they ran up 35 against the Dolphins, the full team was out at the end.
Strange.
Even if they do take guys out, it doesn't necessarily mean the Jags are going to score a whole lot because they're just so bad. Gary, a pick or a skip?
Oh, like I actually can't believe that you lads aren't putting this in as a pick or don't have it as a strong pick. I think it's my number one pick. Like
Jags
Dermot said there, that they're ruthless. Like, you look at they play the Dolphins, they put up 35 points against the Dolphins to 0. They played the Texans, that was 40-0. They played Washington, they outscored them by about 20 points. So any of the poor teams they've played, they've been beating them out the gate. The Jags aren't good. Even last week against the Dolphins, it was very low score in the first half, probably about 3-3 or something like that in the first half, and then they come out and stuck 26 points up in the second half. I don't know what was wrong with them in the first half that they couldn't get on the board, but I think
it's like the Cowboys all over again. You're talking me into it now. I wasn't. I was on the fence. It was a lean, but not a pick, and now I'm all over it.
It was in this show until this goes in.
Well, it was 13.5. You'd have to bet. But it's.
I mean,
50, it's gone the wrong side of making a genuinely.
When you seen what Geno Smith and the Seahawks did to the Jags last week, though, you're like, yeah. It just makes you wonder. It makes you wonder what the Bills can do. The Bills are just better at every facet of the game than the Seahawks at the moment. So.
And Urban Meyer is absolutely clueless. So that's.
So more reasons. Right, so we're in then. Right, this is pick number one.
There's a lot of hot takes on this show this week.
We should do? I think we should stop the takes and we should just talk about the game. And I think we'll just get to a natural conclusion on the picks because we start with the picks.
I mean,
flip flopping.
I think if Gary's that strong in favor, like we're all there and thereabouts, and it could happen. Like it might. I'm definitely a lean, but I just think I'm just afraid of the line. But if Gary wants it in, I have no problem with it at all.
Yeah, I think we're going to go on this one. So this is a hot pick from Gary, and then 3 pretty heavy leans from the rest of us, with drifting towards picks as well. So that could be our number 2. We still have a lot of the board to get through, so we'll circle it and we'll come back. The next one up is this is my number 1 pick. The Cleveland Browns go to Cincinnati, 2.5 point home favourites. The Bengals. We'll go to Dermot first.
Sorry, I hadn't a top 5 prepared, but this would be definitely in there now. I think the whole Baker OBJ thing is going to play out this week, and I like Baker. I think he's great for the Browns, but I actually think he's a bit limited, and I think it's going to get exposed in this game because he's not to throw to anyhow. OBJ was bad. Landry's been injured. It's all tight ends they have to throw to, so I think last week was just a blip for the Bengals, and I think they learn from it and kick on. And I think this one could be quite comfortable for the Bengals.
Yeah, you pretty much summed up exactly my thoughts there. It's my number 1 pick, and I've got it in my last man standing. I've picked it in any competition I'm in.
The number is lovely as well. Like you couldn't ask for a better line to be put up there other than other Bengals plus numbers, But
I think on Sunday it'll be outside 3. It'll be 3.5 or something. It'll be gone more than the field goal. We go Gary. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, just a question. On these lines are the final lines now. There's no change in these.
No, exactly. Yeah, so Circa released them at about, I think, like midday Vegas time. Then they set them. They wait till then, but obviously with the Thursday game, they can't wait a huge amount longer.
No.
Gary, what do you think? 2.5 for the Bengals.
Yeah, I think this has to go in. If the Bengals hadn't got beaten by the Jets, how they managed to get beaten by the Jets last week, if that result wasn't there, I think this would probably be double, maybe more of a spread. So you'd be talking about 5, 6, maybe even 6.5 points. So I think it has to go in. The one concern I'd have is the Browns are good on defense, and obviously, as good as Burrow has been and the likes of Chase and co, you just have that in the back of your mind. I think they're 3rd in the league in total defense, particularly good against the rush. So again, I know Mixon is having a good season, but there's a couple of question marks in there that if the spread was higher would definitely come more into the reckoning. But 2.5, as Dermot said, is probably the perfect line. So yeah, I think it has to go in.
Yeah, I agree with that, Gary. If that was 6.5, you could start to worry about the defensive issues or the defensive prowess of the Browns. But inside a field goal, they can scrape a win here and we're still good. So, PK, I presume you're not going to be the dissenting voice here. Where do you stand on this one?
No, I mean, Gary makes the point. The Browns are very good defensively, but obviously, as Dermot said, they're very limited offensively now too. I mean, the Baker's banged up too. Baker takes one big hit on that left shoulder too. He could be gone as well.
Case Keenum could be slightly better at the moment anyhow. So.
Yeah, I mean, there's lots going on there with the Browns. They have to figure stuff out. I think they're still potentially, they've figured out they're still potentially a playoff team. But at the moment, if last week was a blip, obviously, it puts doubts in your mind. What happened last week against the Jets, the defensive stuff to figure out. They might have underestimated the Jets, and maybe that's what happened last week. But you can't say anything other than take the Bengals this week.
Okay, so there's our first consensus pick anyway, so that's gone straight in. And we'll be 100% putting that one in. We'll move on to the next one, another small line here. The Vegas Raiders 3-point road favourites in New York against the Giants. Not sure what to make of this one myself, but we will go to you first, PK. New York Giants picking up 3 points at home.
I think I know why you came to me first, because I told you during the week this is my number 1 pick. I mean, I don't understand this line at all. I mean, we've had one of these every week where I just go, last week was the Seahawks, and I think that proved true. Like the Giants they're bad. They're very bad, and the Raiders have been good. I mean, like more than decent. I mean, they lost Ruggs, obviously. I mean, I don't know if I want to bring up too much about that, but he's not that. Like he wasn't an essential part of their offense. Like he wasn't huge. He's a good deep threat, but they have other parts there. And I just, I don't see how the Raiders don't win this by 10 or more, because like the Giants somehow didn't beat the Chiefs, and the Chiefs couldn't have played any worse last week. So the Raiders definitely aren't worse than the Chiefs at the moment. So I'll happily take this line at -3.
Yeah, okay, Gary, we go to you this time, Gary. What do you think? Do you agree with PK there? An easy 3 points?
Yeah, like I mean, it should be. It worries me. I had said the Ruggs situation worries me. So like sometimes that can just put a cloud over a team, and then there was also the Gruden situation. That's kind of 3 or 4 weeks ago. So is it going to turn in, like sometimes Raiders can turn into just a bit of a clown show or a circus, and you'd be kind of worried about that. But 5-2, we can't really argue with the record against the Giants, who PK said are pretty poor this season, and for the last number of seasons. I think Waller is going to be back for this as well. So it's hard to put any kind of major case against the Raiders here. Everything that I would have is just kind of, I don't know what you would call it, superstition or whatever. But I'd be happy for the Raiders to go in. It's the most likely result. Again, 3 points is a nice enough spread. If it was 5-6, you'd start to worry, but they should be better than the Giants by 3 points.
Dermot, do you agree with the guys? Pick or a lead or a skip?
Oh, definitely pick for the Raiders. With all the off-field stuff the Raiders have going, I think the Giants actually have more going on with all the COVID. I don't think they've been training together all week, so that's huge in NFL. Preparation is massively. Just their injury list is just endless. It's like watching the Niners from last year. It's just it just keeps getting longer and longer. So yeah, definitely the Raiders at -3, and I think I'd have to agree with PK on the line. I think this could be out to 7, and you still go for it.
Okay, so it's a pretty consensus pick there again.
Yeah.
I've been talking to PK during the week, and I floated. I wonder was there value in the Giants based on the off-field issues, and he swiftly convinced me that there's absolutely not at all. And I mean, listening to the three of you talk, it's pretty clear cut. There's a lot of value there on that -3. So I think this will be our second consensus pick. You want to say something there, PK?
Yeah, the bookies reacted to them losing Gruden, which is obviously a bigger factor earlier in the year, and they brushed that off easy. If anything,
we talked about that on the show. We actually
nearly better. Like,
yeah,
I know circumstances are very not good, like the way they've lost Ruggs, but they've lost a wide receiver. Teams lose wide receivers throughout the year. Like it happens, and you just make compensations or whatever else. I don't think it makes them that much worse a team, to be honest with you.
Yeah, no, I think it's fair enough. So that's two consensus picks. So we are 100% taking the Bengals and the Raiders, and then we're potentially taking the Bills and the Ravens, depending on how the rest of this board goes. So our next game up here is one that we should probably just skip over, considering Gary's newest rule. But the Falcons go to New Orleans, 6.5 point underdogs here. Saints at home, favourites, of course. Dermot first. Where do you think this one goes?
If I'm not mistaken, this opened at -5 and now it's -6. I wouldn't go near this game for some reason. I know Ridley is declared he's out, but he was out anyhow, so I don't see how that's affecting it. Watched the game last night, the Saints game last week. They were very good, but there was an element to the underdog in that, and I think that's what Peyton drives off. He's not going to have that here, and I think this will be a lot closer than the -6. Don't trust the Falcons ever, but it's another one of those games where garbage time scores are going to start going in, and I don't think I'd want to go near that myself now.
Hey.
I have it as a pick. The Falcons are the Falcons. What do you say? I don't know. Can I ask what Gary's rule is first? Is it that the Falcons just get...
That the Falcons never go in a bet ever again.
for or against? Well, I'm taking the Saints here.
Just they're a team that always ruin my bets. So
yeah, no, much like the Pats for me, I suppose. But like I've watched the Saints the last 2 weeks, their full games, and their defense has just been massive. Demario Davis, whatever if he keeps playing the way he is, he'll put himself in line for Defensive Player of the Year the way he's going. He's just been huge. Their defense stood up huge against Tampa Bay last week when things needed to be done. And obviously the Falcons. Like, can the Falcons score over 20? I don't know. And
I mean, just to put that into context, they scored 13 against Carolina last week, and then they scored before that. I had it up there on my screen, just refreshed. They scored 30, 27, 30, and 17. So I mean, they can score.
They can. It depends on what
schedule had lots to play in that, I'm sure.
Yeah, it depends on what defenses they come up against. Saints are in hot form. Taysom Hill could be back, not too sure, but he adds another element. He could take a little bit of workload off Kamara, who they've been kind of dependent on offensively recently. And I'm just inclined to think that the Saints are on a roll now, and they will keep it going here. They have a chance to take that NFC South or East or whatever. But so I think they'll just keep chugging along here, and I'm happy to take that 6.5 point spread there.
All right, I have no real opinion on this game. I kind of don't like the line. I'm sure the Saints will win, but I don't like the line, so I'm going to skip past it, I think, myself.
Sound like the police are on the way for you, LB.
Yeah, technical issues. It's LB just turn off the sound when they knock on the door.
I'll give my 2 cents while we're waiting on them to come back. I think that I'm actually tempted by the line on the Falcons. I think plus 6.5, they could do it. I think.
Well, that's 100% pick for me then, the Saints, because if Gary's tempted by the Falcons,
I'm willing to do a side bet with you, Gary. How did the side bet go last week? Actually, I can't remember what was that.
I can't even remember what the side bet was.
You had a money line bet. LB and Gary had a money line bet. I want to settle this.
Oh, Gary won it because it was the 49ers Bears, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, it was. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, Gary, you're in a good run of form. I'll take you, but I'll take you on the spread on this one if you.
Thanks
want
for bringing that up, by the way, PK. Appreciate it.
Give me 8.5, and we'll go for 20.
Come on. Once you go,
you can't push the line. No, you either take 4.5 or 6.5, Gary. You can't add to the line and then demand a bet.
When you take it outside the touchdown, I'm not doing that.
All right, go on, PK. I'll take the Falcons. The worry I have is
the Falcons.
It's the Falcons, and like Taysom Hill is back, so I think the Falcons will put up a score on offense. But it's whether they can stop the Saints' offense. Obviously, they're helped by Winston not being there, but they're ranked kind of in the low 20s in terms of against the rush. I think they're giving up something like 125 yards a game, averaging about 28 points a game that they're giving up as well. So they're not good statistics, and defense is obviously going to be where they'll lose the game if they lose it. But it has a bit of a shock written on it to me, and I wouldn't totally write off the Falcons, even though I'm a man of my word, so it's not going in here. But I think they have a sneaky feeling that they could cause an upset.
Okay,
I'd lean the Saints, but I think the Saints are going to have trouble with Patterson and Pitts next week because their defense is brilliant. Like, there's no doubt about that. But they're brilliant at picking out the structure. So they had Lattimore picking up Evans. They were loving Fournette running against them, but that's not going to be the case. I think that the Falcons could get an early lead actually in this game, but I think the Saints are the ultimate winner anyway.
Yeah, that was my thinking as well. Is that the Falcons' offense does have that strange look to it. Like, you've got a tight end that looks like a wide receiver. You've got a wide receiver or a running back that's kind of playing wide receiver. It's a weird kind of setup that they have. But I think it could cause them problems.
That I'd see when they played the Seahawks a couple of weeks ago. The matchup at DK and Lattimore was great to watch. I don't know if anyone's seen it. They were fighting each other the whole game, and I think DK got an early touchdown from about 75 yards and then didn't get another reception till the fourth quarter. It was just a great matchup to watch all game. Yeah.
So one to watch then and not pick. So I think we'll leave that one, leave it on the table. The next one up, I think we have time for one more before the next race. So this one is I've a feeling this one probably moved a good bit since the preseason odds, but the Los Angeles Chargers travel to Philadelphia, and they're 1.5 point underdogs on the road. The Eagles are laying 1.5 at home. So we will go to you first, Dermot. What do you think? Is that line right? Eagles 1.5 point favourites.
Wrong way round, isn't it, LB? Chargers are 1.5 point favourites.
No.
Oh,
I think it's the wrong way around, but it's one.
If it hadn't if the last 2 weeks hadn't happened, they'd be definitely picking the Chargers. But Justin Herbert was abysmal the last 2 weeks, and last week he looked short of confidence, which is the first time we've seen it. So how he gets over that, I don't know. So one surprise from the Eagles is they
Sorry guys, that's actually on me. It's a typo. So sorry, I put the teams together. So it is 1.5. Yeah, sorry.
It is 1.5 points for the Chargers.
Yeah. So the Eagles plus 1.5 should be the line. Apologies.
Yeah. I still probably take the Chargers, but I'd say that if you look at last week, the Eagles put up 41 points, and I was just looking at the fantasy points for Hurts. I think he had 11 points, which is, if you score 41 points and the quarterback scores 11 points, the Eagles are just going to run the ball against the Chargers, and the Chargers are second last in the league against the run. So this one is a no-go for me. I would expect the Chargers to win, but the Eagles have caught me 3 times already this year, so I'm just staying away from them. They're my Falcons.
The Chargers are actually last in the league against the run, so giving up 159.6 yards per game.
Yeah, and the Eagles have lost their best running back and gotten better on the run. So,
yeah.
Okay, where do you go on this one?
This as I said, as Darren said, you go back 4 or 5 weeks, this line it's 11 points probably. I mean, it's mad. The Eagles have all of a sudden, as of last week, the last couple of weeks, have turned into a good running team, and the pressure's off Jalen Hurts. And at the beginning of the season, they were totally reliant on him. And the Chargers would look like Justin Herbert couldn't be stopped, and now he's gone to dung. I mean, this is a very strange game in terms of where both teams are at. It's not a game I want to get involved in that. With that, as you said, the Eagles now having apparently a really strong running game, and the Chargers having a really bad run defense. I mean, if you take it on the last 2 weeks, you're inclined to go with the Eagles slightly, but it's not one I want to be involved in.
When we talked earlier in the season on the stream, my personal feeling is any of those tight, 1 point, 1.5 points, even 2 points, unless you got a strong pick, like you really fancy one of them, I think it's just best to stay away. If the bookies think it's going to be that close, then one fumble, one missed kick, and then you're gone. So I think I'm happy to just skip it, to be honest. I think the Chargers will win. I quite like the Chargers anyway, and I'm not a huge fan of the Eagles, so maybe I'm slightly biased anyway. But I think at 1.5, it's just not worth taking it one way or the other. So it sounds like there's not much interest in that one, so we will move on. What time is it? 7
My opinion doesn't matter.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think
did we skip you, Gary? Apologies. Yeah. Just so used to you talking all show that
No, it's grand. So I was actually just going to agree with you anyway. The one thing you haven't mentioned is obviously West Coast team going East Coast. And, bad weather and cold weather and things like that usually plays into the home team's favour. So I do think it's a bit of a dodgy one. I like the Chargers.
You're familiar with that part of the country, Gary. Will the weather have turned already? Will it be?
I'd say so. Yeah, I'd say it's starting to be getting cold. But PK, you're in that part of the country.
I had my eyebrow raised there. Gary's familiar with it. I live here.
Yeah, well, I see PK. I see you walking around in your little GAA shorts and t-shirts 11 months of the year. So you have no internal thermometer to worry about.
But I can gauge temperatures. But I'll be golfing this weekend, so the weather's still fine.
Is it all right?
Yeah, it's chilly, but it's not overly cold.
All right. Maybe that's not. It's still, yeah.
It becomes relevant though. It does.
I have to admit, I have the Chargers in my own picks for the Super Contest, but that was very much a heart pick than a head pick. So
I can't even remember what I have in the Super Contest. So we'll move off again now. So this game is the interesting one of the week, the biggest line move. It's probably going to deserve more time to talk about than we're going to have until the next race. Actually, we might come back to it after if things go that way. The Packers travel to Kansas, PK. They are now 7.5 points. the line has moved a huge movement this week on the COVID news. So where do you see this one, PK? We go to you because you're a Kansas fan.
Is it 7 or 7.5?
7.5.
I like the line moved from 1, I think, 1 point favourites to 7. I'm all over the Packers in this, and I'm a Chiefs fan.
Why were the 1 point favourites?
Made no sense.
Yeah. Well, I seen it come up at first. And I thought there's something wrong here. There's someone
coming back.
But even at that, just on form alone, I was like, that line, there's something wrong here. Someone knows something that we don't know, and I obviously it wasn't Aaron Rodgers having COVID, but that was on any means that should have been favoured to the Packers.
We were texting LB and after the game, the Chiefs game, and we're like, not even looking at prices. I was like, oh, surely the Packers are 4 or 5 point favourites, and we looked it up. And the Chiefs are 1 point favourites. Like, how? What? Who made this line? Like, it doesn't make any sense.
It made no sense. Yeah. I don't know about we've talked about it here a few times. The lines, I don't like big line moves on the back of it. Injury news, players being out, and we've seen it. I think it's kind of like a statistical thing that the overreaction to injury news is a huge loser in terms of betting. So I've stayed away from this one personally. I don't know if I like the way the line has gone, but yeah, I mean, before the news of Rodgers, I would have been all over the Packers. One side either way, I would have taken them massively. A big heavy lean there. So, Gary, what about you? Do you have a pick in this game, or a lean, or a skip?
I have it as a skip, to be honest. I would lean towards the Chiefs given the fact that Rodgers is out, etc. But we've kind of seen over recent weeks that that's not the end of the world. Like, there hasn't really been teams that have totally bombed with their starting quarterback being out. So and the Chiefs haven't been great at stopping anybody scoring. So I'd say one of us could probably play quarterback for Green Bay and maybe rack up a score. So I'd leave it alone. But if I had to pick one, it'd be the Chiefs.
Okay, lean, but a skip. Dermot, where do you stand on this one?
I don't want to go near this game at all. I have it in the other contest because we got a -1 for the Chiefs, but it could be a very strange game. It could show up that Rodgers is carrying the whole Green Bay offense for years, or it could just show that the Green Bay are a pretty good team, and any quarterback would step in there. But I don't know. I on that line, I fancy the Packers, but I wouldn't go near it really.
But that's it. Sorry, big one.
Was there a game or two last season where Rodgers missed, or was it the season before, and their defense just came up huge? No matter who they had a quarterback, and like, you don't need to have too much to turn over the ball against the Chiefs right now. Like,
no,
a scarecrow would probably get an interception against them.
They also have a good 1-2 punch in the running back as well. So whoever love his quarterbacking, check it down to Adams all game and let the two boys run all game.
I mean, the one thing I said in our group was... Go ahead, Gary, sorry.
No, sorry, I was just going to say the same as their mother in terms of, if you're the running backs there, you want to just kind of stand up and say, this isn't just the Rodgers show, like, we're actually here and we're here in our merits, etc. So I think if they have anything about them, they'll be looking to put on a show, I think, at running backs.
And if I'm not mistaken, the games that PK mentioned that Rodgers was out, I think Aaron Jones scored 4 touchdowns in 2 games. Yeah, one of them was a hat trick in one of the games. And I have a request a bit there with Sky on about getting on for Jones to go over 100 yards plus. I prefer Derek Gore to Darrell Williams, but I think they're going to put up a lot of numbers on the ground.
So some good angles there, but a skip for the picks.
Better, yes.
I think this is the first time ever that I'll back against the Chiefs in my life. So I don't like doing it. I don't like betting against my heart, but I always bet with my head. So I'm gonna have to this time.
Go against them. Right. Must be nearly race time in California, Gary. How are we looking?
There's a few interviews happening here. The horses are all down at the stall, so it's probably going to be another 2 or 3 minutes before they're off. I'd say they're not showing the load, and they're just
There's five loaded up so far. Anyway, I don't know how quick this stream is now because I think it might be ahead of yours.
I'm watching live here on Sky.
Go on. Even on a previous race. Sorry, I'm watching the completely wrong thing.
Yeah.
Sorry, apologies.
You're absolutely miles ahead of me. Anyway, that's all I know.
They're still kind of parading down, so there'll be a few more minutes here. Just a few interesting things to call out. Like the US horses have a very good record in this. So you're like, the stats there, I think it's something like 17 out of the last 20 that the US horses have won. And Brad Cox has won the last Chad Brown has won 4 of the last 7. So he has 2 runners there, the second and third favourite, Consumer Spending and Hawaii. So if you're looking just to have a blind bet, they're probably 2 of the most live ones. I've tipped up Bubble Rock here. So has the best jockey in the race, decent draw and some decent form. And then from the European horses, I gave Malavat a good mention in my write-up of the race, but has a very bad draw. So I don't know whether it can overcome that. It's drawn out in stall 12. And Hello You has been backed off the board. So David Loughnane, Irish trainer, has a US jockey. John Velasquez jocked up for it. Was probably about 16, 14 to 1 this morning. And within the 17 to 2 a minute ago. So, they're probably some of the lively ones. But as I said, I'll be firmly cheering on Bubble Rock here and hoping he can land for the tips on the site.
I've taken Pizza Bianca myself. I've just backed that out of Trap 1, and then I've done a reverse forecast on Bianca and Cachet or Cachet. I'm not sure how you say it. So they're my only two interests in this race. It's a big field though, so could get tempted by more, but I think I'm going to leave it at those 2.
I have Pizza Bianca as well. Just I think this trainer, or maybe not this trainer, won this race with a horse that had a similar prep race, the Canadian International, here in Toronto. But I could be wrong on that. But good draw as well, so that's why I picked that one.
Yeah, I'm gone. Patriotic and back to Hello You. Just purely on the basis of Irish horse, and it's a small enough trainer, small enough yard, so sending over 2 today is one of them is expected to win. So
he's
very well.
He's been talking this horse up anyway. He's been interviewed 3 times today that I've seen by 3 different people, and he's given an unbelievable shout. So kind of
which horse? Hello You. Is that Hello You, Gary?
Hello You, yeah.
Okay, I'm getting 4 places here, so I'm gonna have a wee nibble each way in it. Then so 9 to 1.
Yeah, I actually think that Bubble Rock, who I dipped up, it won the Matron Stakes last time out at Belmont Park, and I think that's probably the best form on offer. So I'm surprised to see it so big.
Yeah, I've done Bubble Rock in the tipping comp. So.
You've obviously been reading Sports Rundown there, have you?
I know you specifically asked not to read it, so I didn't.
Good to know we're on the same page then if you didn't read it.
Yeah, no, I didn't. I actually struggled to find something that I don't know it's the writing style in America or what, but I struggled to find something that I could get my teeth into. So
but it's mad. Last night when I was looking at this race, it was 7 to 1 the field. So it was wide open. Now it's 9 to 2 field, it's a mad difference.
Yeah, I looked at it, I thought something was broken. I was looking at it, I was like, hold on, the favourites. Why is the favourite 8 to 1? This is not a handicap. It's this is a
great race.
Yeah, exactly. It's crazy race.
It's great.
Now let me get the colours here. So we're on Pizza Bianchi, Bubble Rock, Hello You. Any other ones you want watched out for?
Cachet to come second is all I'm hoping for with Pizza Bianca winning.
Well, see, Cachet has a bit to do on form, but has the best draw of the Europeans, I think. So I think, did we talk about this earlier on, LB? But if the draw means anything, it's a big advantage there for him, or he should have a big advantage on the rest of them. He's got out well there anyway. He's in second there. Pizza Bianca has taken a pull. Hello You got a brilliant break. Hello You's in a lovely position now, just on the inside. Bubble Rock is pulling like pulley thing, and in a very bad position. Oh my God, he's getting mullered on the turn, so I don't think Bubble Rock will be winning it going into the first turn. Anyway, Cachet is leading, which is good for you.
We can forget about as well.
Long way to go, but at least he's in a position that he can kick off the last bend. Misha Onsen has got across well for Shane Murphy as well. For his back one and running, it'll be Hello You, to be honest. He absolutely cantering along there and forward against the rail. Lovely position. Trying to have a look. Bubble Rock has gone back to the back of the field. It's had no luck in running. Consumer Spending is out of it. Won't be winning from there. Looks to me like it's going to be Hello You, but Cachet is going to kick now coming into the last bend. Hello You is still cruising. Bubble Rock is cruising at the back of the field, but it's not going to get a run. Cachet gone for it. Hello You in second. Cachet is going to win, I would think. Pizza Bianchi closing. Something coming storming down the outside. Pizza Bianca. Pizza Bianca's going to win it.
Yep.
It'll be. That 1-2?
No, Malavat, the one that I picked out for Ryan Moore, got second.
Pizza Bianchi win
it? Getting the forecast, Liam, were you?
I don't know. I thought I didn't see Pizza Bianchi get it on the line. I did.
Pizza Bianchi definitely won it.
Oh yeah, he did. Yeah, so I think
Malavat was second.
Yeah, I think Cachet went to third even.
Just got nailed for second.
You're gonna have to look how much that would have paid, Helby.
Don't even want to see it.
Oh no. But that's 2 up for me in the
contest. We got already last week, LB, so we're gonna...
Yeah, I'll take it. It's a lovely feeling when you get it in cash as well, you know.
Yeah.
Went from last to first, coming around the last bend as well.
I
know what's happened to my stream here. I'm only getting the replay now, so I don't know why the live didn't come in at all.
Mine's so far behind Dermot that I'm only watching it now, so it's all good.
Oh God, it was only freaking a yard shorter, and I think Cachet would have come second.
Yeah, bunch finish, isn't it?
Yes, I'm looking at it here. Pizza Bianca was last coming into the last bend.
That's the one you thought was cruising, was it?
No, I said Hello You was cruising.
You mentioned one that was cruising out the back, and I think they're wearing this. Oh no, they're not. I forgot they don't use the silks in here.
Yeah, got a great run. Malavat was unlucky. I'm actually pissed I didn't back him now. He was 20-1 last night, Malavat, or she was. Finished second. But got a lovely break, Pizza Bianca. Could have got boxed in, didn't. And
threaded a nice sweet path though, from what I seen there.
Yeah, by far the best horse in the race though. Jockey didn't even have to get serious with it to win. Hello You ran a brilliant race. Cachet ran a brilliant race, and whatever that was that finished down the outside.
Did Hello You get top 4 now?
I think Hello You finished 5th.
Ah shit!
Something finished. Thunder Loose, I think it was, finished like an absolute train.
Wonky place. Look great to come the furlong to go. Right?
But then that's in our internal contest. That's 2 up for me, Gary, in the first 3. So should be doing all right there for today.
Nice.
And obviously that's 2 up in my lucky 31 as well in the first 3. So happy days. Might make some money.
Did you have anything in the second?
No, that hidden connection was my thing in both. The 5 I picked for the contest, or the 5 I did in my lucky 31. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Nice. That one there, that the Pizza Bianca, like the way she came back at the end. If you hadn't won that, you'd be sick to see it have the ability to get there, and then just left it a little bit too late. So I'm pretty chuffed with that.
It was the gap on the last turn, like that. Those gaps don't open up too often, and then obviously the jockey had loads of horse to go through, but definitely the best horse in the race won that race.
Yeah, pretty pleased with that now.
Ahead of being asked more of a question, I'd say.
Yeah, right. We'll leave that. That's the second last, right? Am I thinking there's only one more left? Or is there two left?
There's actually two more left. I think we'll finish up after the next one.
Yeah, so we come back then to the Circa. There's only 3 games left here, so we're flying along. So we have just wrapped up on the Packers KC. So the next one now, the Cardinals travel to San Francisco. We'll go to you first on this one, Gary. A 1-point line. 49ers picking up 1 point at home against the Cardinals. Where do you see this one going?
I think these two teams are having a contest to see who can get the most players injured or out, are they? Given the injuries and there's talk, so AJ Green's out with COVID, talk of Hopkins being out, Murray's out. It's hard to fancy the Cardinals. Then again, the 49ers haven't been great and have their own injury concerns. I think the 49ers should do the 1 point. I think we should put it in given the injury concerns that are there for the Cardinals. But I've been wrong on the 49ers a lot this season and I wouldn't be uber confident. So if you guys agree, I'll stick it in. But it'd be one I'd be happy to flex on as well.
Okay, so that's a 49ers pick for you, Gary, +1.
Yeah.
Okay, Dermot, where do you see this one? I think I think another 49ers fan, if I am right.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, jeez.
Well, in fairness, I picked him over Hatton. I've been sticking with him for the last 5 years. So,
great Super Bowl 2 years ago, wasn't it?
It's not how that. I definitely picked the Niners here, just on the injuries to the Cardinals. It's going to mess up a lot on their offense. Now, the Niners aren't good. Just like the last week it was probably a missed pass from away from being a cakewalk for the Bears. It's not. The number is perfect, but I definitely back in the Niners +1. Plus, there's probably a semblance of a revenge game because they played okay in the first game against the Cardinals, and they didn't do a thing. They didn't score 10 points. So I think they might be. I know it's a divisional game as well. So I think there's enough last day. Kittle is back. I don't know if he's going to play much, but there's a few positives that haven't been there. So I think I definitely be the Niners be a pick rather than a lean.
PK, what do you think?
I've seen no hard investment in this one, no skin in the game. So the injuries change everything. I mean, looking at it originally, the Cards -1, you're like, oh, take that. But without Murray, Hopkins, obviously Watt is out for the season now too. In my head, it's one I'm inclined to leave alone. There's just too much going on to try and scale and try and weigh up. But I'm not against it going in for the 49ers if you're in agreement too. But it's one I personally prefer to leave alone.
Yeah, it was a lean for me. I didn't, like I said before, those really tight lines, unless I have a very heavy fancy, I don't think they're worth putting in. But I do think the injuries are worse for the Cardinals than they are for the 49ers, and I'd be inclined to. I wouldn't stop it going in. Is my stance on that. It wasn't one of my picks, but I'd be happy to see it go in there. The two biased fans are hot on it, so it'll probably go in. We'll circle it, and we'll see. We have 4 that we're already looking at, so that could easily be the 5th.
Well, I've picked the Colts against the Niners a couple of weeks ago, so not that biased.
In fairness, actually, Gary's not too biased on them either. So we'll circle that one. It'll good chance of going in. Only got 2 games left, so we'll chug on and we'll see what we're like at the end. The next one now is the Titans go to Los Angeles. They take on the Rams. We'll double check this line here. Yeah, it's 7.5 point home favorites for the Rams. Titans picking up 7.5 on the road. We'll go to PK first. Where do you see this one?
I'm taking the Rams here all day. I mean, people we've talked about overreactions to injuries already in this show, but the Rams defense, obviously Von Miller now as well, stacked. Titans are highly reliant on on Henry. He's gone. I mean, if Brown has another week, Brown, right? AJ Brown has another week like last week, maybe, but I don't see it. I mean, he's their
Brown is injured.
He is?
Yeah, he's not out, but he's
carrying a knock.
Yeah, he's only 20%, 30% to play. Like, so he's a big loss.
I just think that I mean, when I seen it first, I was looking for a 10-point line. I seen 7.5, so I backed it last Sunday, I think, or Monday, whenever the news came out. So it's one of mine. I have another lean on a bet here. I think they'll get to 10 quite a few times because he's obviously going to have to keep the ball in hand quite a bit more this week. So if you get I'm tempted. I'm not sure what the odds would be, but 3+ sacks on this one too for the Rams is a bet to look at. But I'm hot on the Rams in this one.
Okay, Dermot, where do you go?
Yeah, I'll echo PK there. Definite pick for me. I think this one could be messy for the Titans. They've had a few games where the offense has got them out with jail, and they can't see if they go behind this how they can get back. And it's not quite like the Texans or the Jets or any of them getting back into it. The Texans are already weary from a few battles already this season, and when they're needing points or needing inspiration, it's Henry to go to. He's not there. I think this could be a mauling. Von Miller will be there. He's going to give them the Rams a lift. And I know McVay has been taken off the starters with a quarter to go. I don't think it's going to make a difference. I think the Texans are just going to be absolutely beat down by then, and this could be messy.
Okay, Gary, this is a pick for me, by the way, but we'll go to Gary. What do you think?
Yeah, then it's a full house. I tipped the Rams at the start of the season to win the Super Bowl. Stronger on it now, obviously, after their start of the season. They've added Von Miller. There's injury concerns on the Titans. It's hard to knock the Rams. I obviously would have preferred 6.5 or 7, probably 6.5. But 7.5 they should be capable of doing. And as Dermo said, if the Rams go up early, it could turn into a bit of a bloodbath.
Rarely, I'd say, have the team gone all in so much. They have to win the Super Bowl this year, really, don't they? Because
exactly, yeah. The
Rams front office can go to Barbados for the draft next year because they don't need to be there. That's for sure.
Yeah, I'm the same. And you mentioned the injury news. It's not like an immediate reaction now either. So I wouldn't even think that's a big concern. So I'm happy to discount that. So yeah, we're all in on this one as well. So that's another. I'd
say the injury, and he moved the line about 2 points anyhow. So that's why I think it's a great number.
Yeah,
I'd have no bother betting spreading this up to 13.5 and betting it as well. Because I think this is going to be. I think this is going to be seriously messy for the Titans.
Who's the Titans' second running back or backup running back?
McNichols, but they signed in Peterson during the week. Like no one wanted Peterson. No one wanted Peterson all year. You imagine someone would have picked him up.
And who's the Cards' backup quarterback? I forgot to ask that one too.
I
have no idea.
I can't remember. I can picture him, but I can't remember his name.
Gary, any clue?
Sorry, my mind has been wandering there on the racing. So I'll check here for you now.
None of us even know.
No.
You put us on the spot there, PK, with an unscripted question.
I was absolutely hoping. I was like, geez, I have no idea. Surely someone can fill me
I know all their wide receivers, but not their quarterback. Colt McCoy.
Oh, Colt McCoy, yeah, sure. I text that in.
Oh, no way. Colt McCoy, oh, God.
I actually texted that to you yesterday, Dermo. Colt McCoy versus Jimmy G.
Yeah.
Should I remember that?
And I was actually thinking of Kansas City back up, not Cardinals.
Right. So we're now to the last game of the week. The Bears go to Pittsburgh. They take on the Steelers, and they are picking up 6.5 points on the road. We'll go to Dermot first. Where do you see this one? 6.5 points.
This is the worst game of the week, I think, to bet on. The Steelers won't cover the -6, and the Bears won't cover the +6. So I don't know how this is again is just a complete anomaly. I wouldn't go near it. I don't like it at all. The Steelers if the Steelers only cover when they're a dog, and they're not a dog, so I wouldn't go near it. And the Bears are very bad. They're not getting. Allen Robinson hasn't a touchdown, and they're just enough to tell you how well they're going. So I don't want that to do with that. I wouldn't have anything to do with that game. Definitely won't put a pick in this competition anyway.
Yeah, I'm happy to leave it out myself as well. I think it's a tricky enough game for my stance, but we go to you, Gary. What do you think of it?
Yeah, I would swing it. Something seems to have gone wrong on the old stream there because PK has gone really full screen.
He's back now. Yeah.
Popping out to say hello, PK. But yeah, no, like this is a game that you couldn't be confident on either team. Like, you know, that way, as Dermot said, the Steelers. You look at it, and when I look at a team, I think, yeah, they've got a decent enough team, you know, solid defense, have potential on offense, but they just haven't been shown in any week this season. And every week I get to them, like, they're going to have a breakout week now and kind of, you know, put a team away early and blow them out, but it just hasn't happened. You couldn't be confident on it, so I think just leave the game alone. I hate the Bears, so I'm happy to leave them out as well.
Okay, any stance on this one?
No, my note is no opinion. I mean, the one thing I seen last week watching was the Justin Fields touchdown against San Fran. It was a moment of magic. He might actually start opening up a bit. We might see him flourish just a little bit, but I mean, this line is set perfectly for these two teams. I mean, Bears can be trash. Steelers haven't shown enough to pummel a team. So, yeah, it's best left alone at that line.
I think Fields will scramble twice and that'll be the end of it because that Bears defense will just stick him in the ground and that'll be the end of it. I think
could likely happen too, yeah.
Yeah, the Steelers will probably win the game, but I don't know. It's probably one of them games you're going to go after it. Oh, yeah, I should have definitely put them in, but I wouldn't.
Not at that line, no.
No.
Right, so that's the end of the card. So we have three absolute picks, and they are the Rams, the Raiders, and the Bengals. And then we have three more that are pretty heavy leans or non-consensus picks, which are the Ravens, the Bills, and the 49ers. So we go around in order. We know where Gary's pick will be because he was last. It was the last one up. So we go to you, PK. Of those three, so that's the Bills, the Ravens, and the 49ers, and you had to pick one. Which would you pick?
I have the Ravens and the Bills 5 and 6 on my list, but given the way we talked and how bad the Jags actually are and how ruthless the Bills are, I have the way after talking about it, I have a lean towards the Bills on this one.
Okay, Dermot. Of those same three, Bills, Ravens, and 49ers.
Just because I said if you put plus 25 up there, I'd probably still back the Bills. But for this contest, I'd probably just lean to Niners, then the Bills, then the Ravens. So I either go Bills or the Niners, and then the Ravens.
And then you guys, which of those three stands out as the best potential?
All three of them are in my top 5. I'd probably.
Which is your least favorite then?
I'd probably go with Dermo there, saying Niners first, Bills second, and Ravens third. But I could easily flip the Bills and the Niners, and that I think the Bills are a great bet this week.
But we needed two, so.
Gary said he's not leaving the stream until the Bills are in, I thought.
But that's what I'm saying. I'm putting them in.
Right. So that's our 5 then. We got the Bills, the Bengals, the Raiders, the 49ers, and the Rams.
Yep. Oh, yeah, you had to pick 2 there at the end, right? So
yeah, we needed 2 anyway. But you all seem to be along the same lines. And for me personally, the least of them was the Ravens. I had it as a skip game anyway, so happy to.
How did you get on last week?
3.
So this quarter, there's been 4 weeks, so 20 points, and we're on 13. So 13 out of 20. Overall, I think we're still averaging 3 per week throughout the the full length of the season. So realistically, we'd need something pretty miraculous to get us back up to the top of the leaderboard. We need a couple of 5s, and they don't seem to be coming our way. So usually we get a short list of 6 or 7 and pick the 2 losers that are the only 2 losers on the list seem to go in every week. So hopefully it's different this week and we get the 5. We have a good shot at the quarterly prize. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So good shot at the quarterly prize this week, but or this quarter, sorry. But yeah, need a 5 here. Bit of time before the racing comes back. So what would your bet of the weekend be, Dermot, on the NFL?
That time is probably past for it, but he's still up there 13-2 with Mac Hollins to score against the Texans. He's still 13-2 with William Hills. I backed him 16-1, and Devontae Parker's out. I think Tua likes him. I like backing quarterbacks or wide receivers, quarterbacks or tight ends when they have a bit of a connection. I know some people aren't into prop bets like that at all, but that's what I'm betting this week.
Well, we certainly are here. So, what about you, PK? Bet of the weekend?
Honestly, I haven't taken enough of a look yet. I really haven't. No, I got nothing. The Raiders are my number 1. Like I do what you want with them, but they'll be in most of my bets of the weekend. So if they mess up, I'm screwed.
I'm going to squeeze up a few lines here, up and down. So I'll have a look at those. And I've also I left the notes in a different place, but I've been looking at the numbers on the spreads, the winning spreads. So I think there's a few that are in the 1-6 category this week that I might double and treble up. But as I said, I should not say this on stream, but I left my desk at work. Well, I put it as I've done them on lunchtime. So,
the whole lunchtime thing, yeah.
Yeah.
But no, I'll probably I'm doing okay on the players this week. We just need to be tightening up on the mathematics side of things. I think I'm having too many winners and not enough money, which is
so frustrating when you get it wrong like that. You've picked, good research, good bets, and then whatever way you put them on, and it just doesn't turn out profitable.
Yeah,
it drives you insane.
Yeah, that's it. Like,
I think we've lost Paul, by the way. So apologies to any of our viewers. He got really big, and now he's gone. And now he's back. What about you, Gary? What's your bet of the weekend?
Well, it's short price, but I think Jamar Chase will score again. I've been dipping up the last while on this side, so I think he'll score again. We got in the group earlier on the Economius St. Brown, whatever he was, 17-1 or whatever. That was
28.
28 was that was an unbelievable price to get. So if you can get on that at that price, then you have to take it. Outside of that, I'm kind of struggling. I need to look about. But the racing took most of my focus over the last couple of days, so I'm gonna put some work in tomorrow to get the NFL bets out.
Yeah, I'm gonna put a bit of work at some bet builders this week. I've been knocking on the door pretty hard last week. I hate Joe Burrow after last week, but yeah, there's I had him to hit 100, get over 263.5 yards, and he threw a pick that would have went for 80 yards, and then went 3 and out to get 5 yards. So, yeah.
And how short was it at the end?
It was 4.5 yards.
Oh, God.
That's who lost by. Yeah, I had all the rest of them up, but all the other 6 parts of the bet builder up. So, yeah.
I got a nice one in last weekend. What was it? I think it was like 210-1 or something.
I'll sound for sharing that, PK.
I did. I sent it to you. I had Mixon and who was the other running back I had to get to? And then I had Geno Smith and Austin Eckler in the late games. Anyway, Geno Smith got in the first drive of the game with his quarterback sneak on third down after 2 stuffed runs.
Nice.
It was wonderful. Can't remember who was the other running back. Oh, the guy for Darrell Henderson for the.
Oh yeah.
I had him 2+. I had Mixon 2+, Geno Smith and Eckler for a few $100. It was nice.
Yeah, I put a lot of investment into DeAndre Swift last week. and they ran in a touchdown, and I was celebrating, and then it wasn't him.
Putting any sort of financial faith in the Lions
it seemed set up for it, but I think that's any of those teams that are getting moral victories, I'm just going to avoid anymore.
Again, better the weekend is to follow.
Moral victories in, you're scraping the bottom of the barrel.
Yeah, it's like watching Irish rugby in the 90s.
Better the weekend to be following your college picks, LB, again, because it's been easy money. That's all I know. Holy crap!
To be honest, the amount of times I text you a winner, PK, and I'm just like, afterwards, you have so many of my winners are going through you. It's ridiculous. I'm gonna have to start backing everything I text to you.
Keep texting me, buddy.
Yeah, good weekend last weekend though. Finally got one of the Yakas up, so that was 12-1 or 12.5-1. So delighted with that. And then about
7 from 8 picks too.
Yeah, 7 out of 8 and 19.5 units. So 200 quid if you're doing a tenner stake off of those. A few fancies this weekend as well. I think I had it last weekend, Arizona to cover. They're 12.5 or 12 or 12.5 again this week at home against a pretty unimpressive California. And I mean, Arizona can't win. Like, they're 0-8. They lose every single week, but they're getting closer and closer and closer. And I'm not sure how they're double digits here. So that's my absolute banker of the week is Arizona. I think they'll win the game actually, 7-2. Money line bet, but I'll take them plus 12. And a few other ones then at the weekend. It's actually a really interesting weekend. There'll be a few grudge matches after the polls were out, the official polls, and the usual biases that are infamous in the sport came to the front again. So there'll be a lot of kind of angry teams. So looking for a few good.
You think Cincy should have been in there?
Definitely. I mean, you can hold a slightly easier schedule than some of the other big teams against them, but they've been demolishing everybody. And I mean, 8-0, I think so. I mean, if you look at it as well, if Notre Dame are still 6th and they beat them in South Bend and they beat them by 20 points, there's the excuses you could make for Notre Dame that day. But I mean, to stuff someone who's say 6th away and not be in the top 4 is just doesn't make sense. I think the way they've released these is that if Cincy win all their games and win their conference with a 12-0 record, then I think they'll get into the playoffs. They'll probably be the 4th team and they'll play Georgia and just get stuffed anyway. But it's set in a way that any mistake, any slip up, even an unimpressive win against a weak team will get them out of the running for the playoff spot. I don't think there's anything more political in sport than when they announce these polls. It's just so bizarre.
I don't even watch the football, and all I've been seeing all day is people giving out about Cincinnati now.
Yeah.
I've been there.
So it's really weird. Like, they're trying to expand the playoffs. So at the minute, it's only 4 teams. So there's 130 teams every year playing in the top level of college football, and then they get to this time of the year, and they call it the playoff polls. I think like 12 guys go into a room and vote for the best teams, and 4 of them go to the playoffs. Like, so it's 1st versus 4th, and 2nd versus 3rd.
Whoever brings the biggest brown envelope. So
it's like Alabama are just they're one of the only teams that are getting shown outside of the US. So they're always in there, and they lost a game this season, so they're 7-1. But there's a load of 8-0 teams ranked below them. It's very tricky though. Part of me has a little bit of sympathy for the people that make these rankings, because how do you compare teams? I've played 8 games, and you've played 8 games, and there's no overlap whatsoever between any of the teams we've played. So how do you compare us? I think an early season poll like this, they should have put Cincinnati in and then taken them out down the line if they needed to. But I think they want to get Bama in there. But really interesting.
Does this ranking now give, like, for the rest of their schedule, give a weight to like what they do? So,
it does, but it's unofficial. So I mean, if you beat a ranked team, it obviously improves your status.
But they don't have like an algorithm based on anything now,
No, so there's a few things out there. So there's the coaches poll. So they obviously all the 130 of them vote. There's the press poll, so the AP poll, and obviously all like the journalists that go to all the games. And then there's like CBS have what they call a power ranking, and that is mathematical. And they're always very similar, but then the official poll then always has a slightly lean towards the big names. I think there's a lot of 7-1 or even a couple of 8-0 teams there in that top 10 that'll probably lose between now and the middle of December. And I actually think if Cincinnati win out, they're good. But some very, very tricky schedules now over the next couple of weeks.
Sounds like there's some value to be had anyway. We'll keep.
That's what I heard. And all
that.
Yeah. SportsRunDown.com. There's a few picks this week. I actually can't remember them off the top of my head now, but I like a couple of teams. So another 12-1 parlay up there.
I'm here looking at them here at the moment.
What about the news of the Fighting Irish going to Dublin next year?
Yeah, I can't wait for that now.
2 years.
Yeah, great to have that stuff back.
Yeah, we had. I actually think, Gary, did me and you have tickets together? I certainly had tickets for that.
We had we think we had about 10 tickets between us.
Yeah. And then COVID cancelled that. There was meant to be a replacement game in Nebraska, I think it was, this season gone, but obviously COVID killed that as well. So, looking forward to that one. Now, that's an absolutely ridiculously big game in the calendar. So anyone who's not familiar with college football might not know it, but Notre Dame Navy play every single year. It's kind of like they call it the Dead of Honor, and they kind of, Notre Dame were about to go bust actually. The Navy kind of as a favour put some training camps there and gave them a load of money to keep them going through the lean years, and now to kind of repay them, they play Navy every year. So to get that game in Dublin, it's not even like a game, it's probably one of the biggest games you'll get every single season. So yeah, massive for Dublin, and shame it's not in Croke Park and get an even bigger crowd really, because we were at the BK at Penn State. Oh, they'd sell out Croke Park, no doubt. The amount of Americans that'll come over for it alone.
Yeah, but it's going to be weird with behind the goal at the Aviva. I was there for a FA Cup final, and it was a shocking view. For American football, it's going to be a terrible view.
Yeah, Croke Park was perfect for it. There's so many high up seats looking down. We were there, me and PK, for a Penn State Florida game. It feels like about 100 years ago now, and it was Croke Park is perfect for that type of game. Yep. But anyway.
But it's in September, so you could likely cross over into the All Ireland finals and stuff like that. So
I assume there'd be a big US Navy presence in Dublin for that as well. They'll get a couple of the ships in and fill up the town. So yeah, can't wait. I wonder what the story is with tickets when they go on sale and all that. But looking forward to it for sure.
Yeah, I'll have to look into closer to the time whether I'll go back for it. But it's definitely something worth going to. And any NFL fans and Ireland or England, anyone into college ball or the UK, should definitely be looking at going.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Speaking of big college games, I would never really be into college football, never was before. But I watched the Paul Bunyan Cup game last weekend, and that was a good game of football.
Really entertaining.
The crowds as well and everything
the crowds blow my mind. 120,000. I think that one was about 80, but just ridiculous numbers of students going to these games.
It's just so big. That game is just so big. It's mad. You can't help but love it. Especially when a game goes down to the wire like that too.
I remember a friend of mine going his J1 to Ann Arbor, and he came back and said there was 120,000 at a match. I was like, what match was it? It was surely weird of an NFL game. No, it was a college game. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, when I first learned of it too, it was madness.
It's insane.
Where were you at a game, MLB, in Alabama? An Alabama game, was it?
I've been to Alabama game, yeah, that's a ridiculous stadium. And then more recently, USC. That's actually obviously iconic stadium, not as big, the Memorial Coliseum. But we had a few bets on Utah, and then they stuffed the Trojans and sort of quietly celebrate because there's not that many away fans. So all these absolutely hammered college students not very happy about it. But yeah, some great stadiums in the college football. We must be getting very close to this race, Gary. Or not?
Did we lose Gary?
Sorry, no, I lost. I'll be there. But can you hear me, guys?
4 minutes to the off.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, no, I lost that beat for a minute. There's an ad break here. I think there's a few minutes to the off. Have you got anybody picked out for this race?
No. Simple answer, no. I was looking at American Sanctuary, but it's drifted here now, so I'm going to stay away from that. What about you?
So my original pick in this would have been was the Antipode's favourite, Jack Christopher. I think he would have pissed the race. So unfortunately, he got scratched overnight. So I've gone with Pinehurst now. I think I looked at some of his races earlier on today. I think he has every chance of winning, but some of he wouldn't want him to win because he's trained by Bob Baffert. who has a dark history in terms of doping and things like that, or alleged doping. So he has 2 in this race. I think the favourite Corniche and then Pinehurst, but Pinehurst seems to be well backed anyway. He was about 9-1 this morning. He's in the 5s now, so I said I'd be happy if he wins, but also tinge of sadness that Baffert will get another moment in the sun that he probably doesn't deserve.
Yeah, it's controversial enough, all right, but it's hard to back his horses and enjoy the bet.
Yep.
Nothing really else other than his one standout to me. I've taken Pinehurst in the competition that we have, so wouldn't mind if that wins there. But yeah, nothing really. I think after
I put him in the competition and backed him as well, so open.
I am. Just to add a bit of flavour to it, I did the Japanese raider Jasper Great for no particular reason other than they coming over from Japan. He's the first crop of
great in its name, so
yeah. So I'm looking for, he comes in, my lucky 31 return will be quite healthy. So but honestly,
what price did you get him at?
16s, I think. I'm being offered
still 16
my 50 cent each way thing. I've been offered $200 cash out. It's not bad.
All right, actually did. Yeah, that's enough.
Oh, no. Well, try and get one of the last 2 winners.
Is it this one is the third leg?
This is the 4th leg. The second leg I didn't win. It's all 5 races, like so.
Right.
I have one in each race. Same as my contest picks. So Jasper Great here, and then that Albert in the last for Charlie Appleby.
Nice.
Could be a profitable evening for you, so PK.
Yeah.
Yeah. If we get one of them 2, I'll be chuffed. But
was he flying over to Canada to help you celebrate?
Yeah, help you pick up the winnings.
No need, lads.
Why
did that Jack Christopher pull out, Gary, by the way, do you know?
I actually didn't. I looked earlier on and there was no news on it, so I didn't see it. I assume it was lame or something, but I'm not sure.
Right.
Sorry, I actually got a back spasm there, so that's why my voice went off funny.
Yeah, they will sit in the chair, especially when you do it all day for work too. It starts to get at it.
This Corniche has Mike Smith on it. He's the all-time leading jockey at the Breeders' Cup. He's probably about 60 at this stage, Mike Smith, is he?
Yeah, it must be. It's too short for me in this field, and I feel like with a lot of unknowns, you know.
Yeah, definitely. Like I think it's wide open outside of like Jack Christopher would have been a really good favourite, but you can give any of these a chance to. Other Baffert runner Borussia isn't out of this either, I don't think. Well, I'm happy enough with Pinehurst. It's a bit of a dodgy draw to overcome, but if you get, as I said, it's a mile race, so we should have enough to get across and get decent position. Hopefully, anyway. They're just being put into the stalls here now, so I'd say they'll be off in the next 30 seconds or so. The last one just looks to be going in.
I backed Papa Kappa on the best. He came second to the favourite last day. If the run doesn't go well, he might pick up the pieces.
Papa Cap, Pinehurst, and Jasper Great. Pinehurst has got out all right, needs to get across. Corniche, the favourite, he had to come from the widest stall, so he's got over. He's leading now. Trying to see where Jasper Great is. He held up. Yeah, geez, I don't think Jasper went from there anyway. Papa Cap is going all right. He has decent position on the inside rail there, I'm afraid.
Yeah, I have it up here now.
I'll take a place.
Yeah, like on the three Bob Baffert TriCast would have been a good bet. Here, and I was probably a bit late saying it, but they're in first, second, and fifth at the minute. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes on. Corniche going to kick now. Pinehurst is being wound up for his run. Don't think Pinehurst is going to have enough to do it. But Papa Cap is still going well for you, Dermo. Although Pinehurst is staying on now. Go on, Pinehurst. Go on, Pinehurst. No, it's going to be the favourite's going to win, and Papa Cap's going to be second, I'd say, for you, Dermot.
I was watching a bit of a delay stream there.
Yeah, so.
Solid run.
I assume you're back to each way, is you?
Yeah. 20 to 1 back to each way. I'm not a fan of backing each way, but I'm definitely kind of winging it on this race now, anyway.
That's it, yeah. So yeah, that's us, LB, is it?
Yeah, we've reached the end. I think it's going to be our longest show ever. So thanks, PK and Dermot, for joining us. First time up, Dermot. So hopefully we'll see you again.
My pleasure.
Times.
My pleasure.
PK, you're becoming a regular now on the stream. So thanks, guys.
No worries.
No problem.
My pleasure. Always fun.
We'll get those 5 picks in, and we'll make sure they go in this week, of course. No admin issues, and we'll be back at the same time next Friday, so 7:30. We'll be back with all the live European football, and then we'll move on to the NFL and whatever's on later in the night. We might cover plenty of stuff. So SportsRunDown.com over the weekend. We've got Dermot here, his French football tips. We've got Gary's EFL, Enzo's Serie, Savage's La Liga. There's an absolute ton of content up there. College football, NFL. So get over there, check out the bets, and make sure to like and follow us on whatever channel you've watched us on. It makes a huge difference to us, and really appreciate you joining us. So have a good evening and take care. Have a nice weekend.
Yeah, cheers, guys.
Cheers,
See
everyone.
you, lads. Cheers. Bye.